Montreal's Olympic Stadium. I'm Brian Williams. About 15 minutes to kick off. The BC Lions and the Ticats meeting for only the third time in Grey Cup history. While we have a minute, let's introduce you to today's game officials.
I'm Jake Ireland from Jarvis, Ontario, and I'll be the referee for today's Grey Cup game. The other members of the officiating crew are Chuck Paul, umpire, head linesman Ken Lazaruk, line judge Art McAvoy, back judge Bob Bryan, field judge George Black, standby referee Lauren Woods, and standby official Bud Steen.
The officials in charge of today's game, the players will be introduced in just a moment, and I'm sure as they stand down in those runways, Pat, they are very nervous as the public address announcer gets set to introduce them.
Amateurs de football, football fans. Voici maintenant les joueurs partants à l'attaque pour les champions de l'Est. We're now introducing the starting offensive lineup of the Eastern Division champions, les Tiger Cats de Hamilton. Au centre, at center, le numéro 63, number 63, Marvin Alamang. Garde à gauche, left guard, numéro 58, number 58, Jason Riley. Le garde à droite, right guard, numéro 53, number 53, Jeff Hart. Bloqueur à gauche, left tackle, numéro 68, number 68, Mike Dirks. Bloqueur à droite, right tackle, numéro 67, number 67, Ralph Scholes. Ailier espacé, wide receiver, numéro 3, number 3, Steve Stapler. Ailier espacé, wide receiver, numéro 75, number 75, Ron Ingram. Demi-inséré, slot back, numéro 21, number 21, Rufus Crawford. Demi-inséré, slot back, numéro 23, number 23, Rocky DiPietro. Running back, numéro 19, number 19, Johnny Shepard. Centre arrière, fullback, numéro 74, number 74, Steve Jackson. Et le quart, quarterback, numéro 4, number 4, Ken Hobart. Head coach Al Bruno, ses adjoints, the assistant coaches, and the rest of the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
And what a job Al Bruno has done with the Hamilton Tiger Cats since replacing Bud Riley late in the 1983 season. That year he got the Ticats to the Eastern Conference Final. They lost on a controversial call to Toronto. Last year to the Grey Cup game, losing to Winnipeg. Al Bruno and company hope to win it all this year in Grey Cup 85. Now, let's meet the BC Lions.
Plaqueur à gauche, left tackle, numéro 90, number 90, Rick Klassen. Plaqueur à droite, right tackle, numéro 77, number 77, Ice Gray. Ailier à droite, right hand, numéro 40, number 40, James Parker. Secondaire à gauche, left linebacker, numéro 31, number 31, Kevin Bonard. Secondaire à carrière, middle linebacker, numéro 91, number 91, Tyrone Cruz.
Let's go, let's go.
Secondaire à droite, right linebacker, numéro 37, number 37, Glenn Jackson. Demi-point à gauche, left cornerback, numéro 1, number 1, Darnell Clash. Demi à gauche, left halfback, numéro 28, number 28, Larry Crawford. Maraudeur, safety, numéro 4, number 4, Nelson Martin. Demi à gauche, right halfback, numéro 10, number 10, Melvin Bird. Demi de point à droite, right cornerback, numéro 18, number 18, Keith Gooch. L'entraîneur-chef, le head coach, Don Duvac. Ses adjoints, les assistant coaches et les autres joueurs des Lions de la Colombie-Britannique.
Well, there's no question about it that Donnie Matthews, as the head coach of the BC Lions for 3 years, has done an outstanding job. 3 first-place finishes, and now he hopes the culmination of it all. Let's go down and meet our sideline commentators, Steve Armitage and Bill Stevenson.
Well, let me tell you, Steve, we came dressed for the weather. I thought it was going to be Montreal-style weather for the Grey Cup. You're a typical Vancouverite. You thought it was going to rain, and you know something? You're not out of place at all. It's beautiful.
Up until about 20 minutes ago, I had a great big fur on. I was sweating in that fur, so I went inside and put on my typical Vancouver overcoat. It's a beautiful day.
It is. Steve and I will be covering the 2 benches, and you know, in covering the benches, they're as contrasting as the head coaches. Al Bruno is one of the most laid-back head coaches in all of football. Now, your other fellow may be just a little tight.
Don Matthews can be very testy at times, but he's very, very cool.
All right, now let's go upstairs for the coin toss.
And veteran Al Wilson, representing the BC Lions in his 14th season, he still has not received that cherished Grey Cup ring, despite many individual honors that have been accorded him.
Would have been very surprising if Hamilton hadn't elected to receive the kickoff. They want to prove that they can move the ball against BC. They feel they're as good a football team. Personally, I don't, Don. I think the BC Lions, with a 13-3 record, have lost only 2 clubs all year. They lost 2 games to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and 1 to Calgary. They were superb in the Western Final. They've got to be the favorite, as Doug Mitchell, the commissioner of the Canadian Football League, and an old friend, Otto Jelinek, go to center field for the ceremonial kickoff.
It's been a very busy week for Commissioner Doug Mitchell, but a week of relief, I'm sure, with the announcement by Mr. Edmund Ricard on Thursday afternoon that, yes, indeed, the Montreal Concords would be alive and well in the 1986 football season.
And beyond that, he made it very, very clear. We are committed to football in Montreal and to Canada because we think it's a very important thing for this nation. So congratulations to Ed Ricard and to Amasco and to Charles Bronfman.
Not a bad job by the Honorable Otto Jelinek in kicking off the ceremonial kickoff down at midfield, and right now I think the people and official party are moving into position for the playing of our national anthem. Olympic Stadium in Montreal, the site of Grey Cup 85. In 1981, the Grey Cup game was played here. The Ottawa Rough Riders, a team that rated as a definite underdog against the Edmonton Eskimos, but surprised by jumping into a first half lead and then yielded to constant Edmonton pressure in the second half as the Eskimos won the Grey Cup game. And of course, going back to 1977, the story involving the staples that were used by the Montreal team to win a Grey Cup championship on a snow, ice-covered field.
Well, let me tell you this much. As we get set for the anthem, and as everybody comes to their feet, this may be the nicest day I've seen in Montreal at this time of the year in the many years I've been coming. We've got the big one for you in just a few seconds. This is Grey Cup 85 from Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Along with Lee Pedersen and Frank Rigney, we are set to go. This is going to be a good football game. Many people suspecting that the Hamilton Ticats are going to be a lot tougher than many of us have felt. But let's not forget that the BC Lions are winners of 13 games this year, by far the best record in the CFL. And Louis Pasaglia is all set to go. So are Howard Fields and Rufus Crawford. Roy DeWalt looks pretty cool on the sidelines as Pasaglia will kick it out to Rufus Crawford at the 12. Crawford gets it up to about the 28-yard line. Bruce Barnett was there to bring him down. And so Ken Hobart, who plays more like a linebacker than a quarterback, but boy, has he been effective in the latter part of this season, comes out to lead the offense.
Well, I think he's going to do, Lee, he's going to make those defensive linemen keep their areas covered when he does take off with that football. Big pressure by BC all year long, but they've got to be concerned about this man's running ability.
And he's thrown the ball well in recent weeks, had 19 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, and that's not shabby for a guy who likes to run. This is Johnny Shepard. Shepard with a huge run to the 50-yard line, brought down by Darnell Class finally.
Well, Pat, you know, it was interesting. Ron Lancaster and I mentioned Johnny Shepard in the pregame show, and really an unknown quantity this year. He's been injured the last couple of seasons. Watch the cut he makes to get outside. Gets by Kevin Konar, the linebacker, then he's off and running.
The pickup was 22 yards in his first down to Hamilton. The ball at their 50. Hobart quickly for Rocky DiPietro, but the pass was underthrown. Tyrone Cruz, the middle linebacker, had slid over to provide the coverage.
A little bit surprising right off the bat, a 22-yard gain against the best defensive team against the rush in the CFL.
Well, it sure is the way you like to start the football game. I'm sure Don Matthews on the sidelines there is concerned. He knows he's got a tough defense and relying, as you see, number 9, Nick Hebler, for the big pass rush.
BC Lions were number 1 in the CFL in sacks. They've got a sack situation right here on 2nd and 10, and they get to the quarterback. as Nick Hebler and James Parker, numbers 99 and 40, were there to bring him down.
In fact, you know, I saw Nick Hebler on a newscast last night, and he said that he was going to be working against Ralph Schultz, and he said he was going to eat him up this afternoon. Felt like he could have a great day. Initially, he and Parker meet for the sack. Right?
I'll tell you, Leaf, it looked like he was being held by Schultz as well, but it didn't help at all.
So after the loss, Bernie Ruoff in the punting unit comes in. Darnell Clash is the lone man back for the BC Lions. He awaits at his 15-yard line. Ruoff's kick, it's a beauty. He's got Clash hemmed in at the sidelines at the 19. And Darnell gets it over the 25 to about the 28-yard line, where Ed Gadavakis, the backup linebacker, number 39, is there to bring him down. But now we're going to take a look at the British Columbia Lions and Roy DeWalt, maybe the most forgotten quarterback in the CFL in 1985, because after all, he did throw 27 touchdown passes and only had 12 interceptions, and yet he's not an all-star.
Yeah, I want to go on record right now and say that was a mistake.
Leaf, I don't know if you saw the balloting in its final stages. He finished third.
Wow.
Tommy Clements finished behind.
He was the best in the West.
This is Sandusky. And on that little screen to the wide receiver, Sandusky gets it up over the 35, very close to the first down marker at the 37. Donovan Rose, the cornerback, number 26 on that side, was there to bring him down.
Pat, for the first time in history, the BC Lions had two receivers over 1,000 yards this year. Jim Sandusky, of course, was the second one. Merv Fernandez, the outstanding player in this country, not playing today, of course, led the league.
And let's also mention that Kevan Jenkins, who was the number 2 rusher in all of Canada, is also out of that BC lineup. This is Freddie Sims. And Sims gets it to the 40-yard line for a pickup of just a couple, as that front four of the Hamilton Ticats really clamped down on him.
Well, Frank, you mentioned how tough it is to run against BC. Hamilton, also a very difficult team to run against. That time, number 77, Grover Covington, primarily known as a pass rusher, really made a great play to stop the draw.
That'll be a great matchup. Big John Blaine at 6'6", 280, trying to protect his quarterback against Covington.
A couple of All-Stars getting at it this afternoon.
It's second down and 8 yards to go. BC from their 40. DeWalt with a lot of time. Now is flushed out of there. And he does not get it. His left round really gives him a good whack as he gets to the sidelines. And as a matter of fact, DeWalt was fortunate to pick up a yard or two at most.
Well, after each team picks up their initial first down in the first quarter, their drive stall, you know, Roy DeWalt, only 161 yards rushing this season, really tells you he likes to stay in the pocket and work to his receivers.
Well, BC does not want to see Roy DeWalt run with the football.
So Louis Pasaglia will be punting on third down and 8 yards to go for BC as Rufus Crawford, 21, and Paul Bennett, 27. The outstanding Canadian player in the CFL in 1985 are back to return. And this will be Crawford taking it at his 30. Crawford is brought down as he crosses the 30 to the 31 by Bernie Glear. We're scoreless here at the Olympics Championship. Both guys just feeling each other out. Hamilton with that effective running play by Johnny Shepard early. Then the Lions came back with a first down gainer by Jim Sandusky, but really nothing too exciting yet. But now maybe they've seen something as Ken Hobart brings his Hamilton Ticats up over the ball at their own 33-yard line for the first down. Hobart again is grabbed by James Parker. And that is the second sack of the ball game for that BC Lions defense back at the 27-yard line.
Well, initially, pretty good time for Ken Hobart to throw the football. Looks like he might be a little shaken up there as he was given some pretty rough treatment from James Parker and Michael Gray.
Leaf, we just talked about keeping the leverage, though, keeping Hobart to the inside, keeping your lanes, and they do exactly that. Look at Parker. He tries to go inside a little bit, but he keeps Hobart to the inside, gets help from Gray. They must keep Hobart inside.
So it's second down and 14 yards to go on the draw, and John Shepard opens up again for him. And Shepard crosses the 35 to about the 37-yard line, but they're still going to be 6 yards short of the first down because of the loss on that first down play. Glenn Jackson was there to make the tackle, the linebacker, as Al Bruno has got to be saying to himself, listen, if we're going to be effective today, we've got to find some way to let Hobart either throw the ball or get get them to the outside.
Well, and what they have to do, too, is not find themselves in 2nd and 14 situations against this BC defense. I mean, that's a dangerous kind of place to be in.
So on 3rd down and about 6 yards to go, Bernie Ruoff is back to punt once again. And he doesn't get all of this one. Clash runs up, takes it at his 30-yard line, and now he's back to his 25. Well, that is excellent coverage by the Hamilton Ticats. Wayne Lee forced him back, and actually he ends up losing 5 yards on the return. Bill Stevenson?
There is huge concern, as you can imagine, around Ken Hobart, the coaches, the trainer, Dr. David Levy, and the reason is he hurt his left shoulder. Not severe enough that it's going to keep him out of there, but anytime you get an added injury the way he runs, it has got to be a problem.
Well, thank you, Bill, and everybody, of course, keeping their fingers crossed, because Hobart is one of the keys to whatever success Hamilton may enjoy here this afternoon. Looking deep is Roy DeWalt, and the pass is caught by Ned Armour, who slips off Les Brown and goes all the way for the touchdown. This is the man who replaced Swerve Mervyn Fernandez last week in the Western Final, was an outstanding star of that game, and now look what he does today.
Pat, what a great formation, the kind of formation the BC Lions used all year long to isolate Merv Fernandez one-on-one on the cornerback. They put 4 receivers on the right side of the field, and Armour was over there all by himself.
You know, Frank, at 6'1", he's got a height advantage over Les Brown, and he just took that ball away from him.
And great speed, Leaf. That's one thing they do not lose by having Fernandez out of the lineup. Armour can outrun Fernandez, believe it or not.
Oh, he's a track star.
Flags are down. The point after by Louis Pasaglia is good, but we'll wait for referee Jake Ireland to make his assessment here. It's offside against the Hamilton Ticats. The point by Pasaglia is good, and the British Columbia Lions have really struck quickly here against the Hamilton Ticats. They've shocked them, and they lead it 7-0. This is Grey Cup 85 from Olympic Stadium in Montreal. You know, it's amazing. 3 out of the 4 wide receivers in this ballgame are from San Diego State, including that man, Ned Armour, who really provides us with the first huge play of the ballgame. Goes 84 yards on the pass from quarterback Roy DeWalt. The Lions lead at 7-0, and here's their kickoff. Rufus Crawford from the 16. He is Mr. Everything for the Hamilton Ticats. Rufus Crawford is finally brought down by Darnell Clash, but he gets the ball out to the 39-yard line.
Let's have a look at that touchdown one more time, and really excellent coverage by Les Brown. Ned Armour just simply took that football away from him.
What a big game, of course, he had last week against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. 6 catches, 137 yards, and the first score of this football game.
And when you've got man-to-man and the guy doesn't hang on to the ball carrier, it is a touchdown. We saw it happen right there. The pass intended for Ron Ingram is in behind it.
It's a tough thing for the Hamilton Tiger-Cats. They've really got to try and get a few first downs put together here. They've been scored against. They want to try and establish some momentum. Ken Hobart's been hit hard a couple of times. Just throw that quick pass like he did, but you got to be on target.
You know what you've got to say about the BC Lions, too? I mean, let's face it, they suffer injuries to Fernandez and Kevan Jenkins, and they've got people to insert in their lineup, you know, where they don't lose an awful lot.
That's right, Pat. Last week, Freddie Sims gains over 130 yards.
Hobart again cannot find anybody open, and he is forced out by Tyrone Cruz, the middle linebacker. And so, again, the Ticats are going to have to turn over the football.
Well, that's just simply an outstanding job by Darnell Clash and Larry Crawford on that right defensive secondary side. No running room for Ron Ingram downfield, and finally Ken Hobart, you'll see, is going to run out of room and just take it out of bounds.
One of the few times you saw the BC Lions in zone defense as they drop back covering those people. Normally, they'll give you man-to-man and really come after your quarterback.
Yeah, the problem for Hamilton, once again, 2nd and long.
Good punt by Bernie Ruoff. Darnell Clash is back at his 18-yard line. Jadovekis is there to bring him down as he crosses the 30 to the 32. But let me say it again in case you've just joined us. This is one of the great days I have ever seen in Montreal at this time of the year. You couldn't ask, fellas, for a better day to play a football game.
Pat, there's not a big breeze blowing here at the Big O, but there is a bit of an advantage to the Hamilton Ticats kicking game because there's a couple of areas to our left that are open where the tower is here, and there's a bit of a wind swale comes in there. So if there's an advantage in the kicking game, it belongs to Hamilton in the first 15 minutes.
The advantage on the scoreboard right now belongs to BC. They lead at 7-0. They have a first down right now at their 32-yard line. And the give is to Freddie Sims. Sims is tripped up as he gets very close to the 35-yard line by Greg Gary, the linebacker, number 41, as Kenny Hobart and head coach Al Bruno talk things over on the sidelines. They know they've got to get that offense moving.
Well, there's the 8-year veteran from Georgia, Ben Zambiasi. You see him fight off the block of Gerald Roper, the left guard, and he gets in on the play with Greg Gary as well.
You know, Roper's 260 pounds and Ben is 213. Pretty good job by linebacker.
Pickup was 4 yards. Second and 6 flag is down as they throw the screen to John Henry White. And John Henry is all the way into Hamilton territory at the 48-yard line, but there was a penalty marker on the play.
It appeared to be the Hamilton Ticats jumping offside, but we'll see if they were drawn off by a motion call.
Well, really set up well, though, by Roy DeWalt and his offensive lineman. Get that penetration, get the lineman out front. You know, John Henry White, over the course of the season, averaged 8.9 yards when he caught the football. That's outstanding for a fullback.
He really does it all, Leaf. He doesn't run with the football all that much, but a great blocker and an excellent receiver. Had 44 receptions over the course of 1985. Watch a great hustle by Covington. 77 does not get there, but made the effort.
The penalty was against Hamilton. The gain of 26 yards stand as Ned Armour is there once again to make the catch and the touchdown. Donovan Rose providing the defensive coverage. There is a penalty marker at the line of scrimmage. There is another one at the point of the reception. Now let's see what it's about.
Well, if you can believe Leo Ezrins, he says it's coming back.
Well, they're going to need a rope to get a hold of this guy, Ned Armour, because he's just running wild out there.
Well, they called him for interference on that. They said he gave Donovan Rose a push to make that reception. Jake Ireland's going to sort everything out for us. Don Matthews, he's certainly not happy with that call.
Here's the call by referee Jake Ireland. All right, the call is quite simply this. Offside against BC. It was declined. Pass interference is accepted. So move the ball back 10 yards. Make it 1st and 20. BC the ball at their 51-yard line. DeWalt set up the screen again to John Henry White. Oh, and what a play. A great tackle for the Hamilton Ticats by Mark Streeter, number 20, because John Henry White was just getting in full gear. He was getting set to turn it up for a big game.
Well, Riggs, that's what happens when you play that zone defense. And, of course, on 1st and 20, you know Hamilton's going to be sitting in that kind of coverage. It allows a guy like Mark Streeter, the inside safety, the ability to read the play, see it happen, and then come up and support. He did a super job.
Well, Mark Streeter's been around the CFL for 4 seasons, and this year had a couple of interceptions in that great crew that picked off 46 for Hamilton. The pass over the middle was intended for Freddie Sims. Roy really drilled it in there, and Sims could not hang on.
There you go. Freddie heard the footsteps there with Big Ben Zambiasi breathing down his neck.
Well, after Zambiasi dropped Roper in his tracks, I guess he could.
Well, I don't blame him.
So the BC Lions, leading at 7-0, send Louis Pisaglia and the punting unit onto the field. And the Ticats drop back Paul Bennett, who's been suffering from a hamstring injury, and Rufus Crawford, who was out much of this season with a knee injury. They are both back to return the punts in this, the most critical game of the year. Crawford has this one bounce in front of him and out of bounds. So the Ticats are going to put it into play at their own 24-yard line. That's where Ken Hobart and the Hamilton offense will have the pigskin. When we come back, it's 7-0. BC leads it. This is Grey Cup 85 from Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Mark going deep, looking for Rufus Crawford, but the ball was over his head. Boy, there was coverage back there. We're talking about three guys, Nelson Martin, Larry Crawford, and Keith Gooch. There was no way he was going to get that one in there.
Riggs, you always worry about a young quarterback playing in his first Grey Cup game. I know Kenny Hobart's really been on a roll the last half of the season, but really in this first quarter, I think he's been kind of rattled. I think that pass rush got to him early, and that was a poorly thrown ball and not in the right area.
You're right, Leaf. He has to have a little patience, take off with the football, which has been his long suit all year long. Try to hit those little dump off patterns, maybe to Rocky DiPietro. Get something started.
It's 2nd down and 10 with the ball at the Hamilton 24. Flag is down. And Hobart's pass was intended for Rocky DiPietro.
It's going to be holding.
Glenn Jackson very nearly picked it up. But we'll see what the penalty marker is about.
I'm sure it's holding, Pat, against the Ticats, and of course will be refused.
Well, you know, it's tough. You work all week against a team that you think is going to blitz and play a lot of man-to-man. Now all of a sudden you find yourself in 2nd and long.
Hamilton number 58. Decline, 3rd down.
Well, that's Jason Riley, the left guard that got caught for holding, but 2nd and 14, 2nd and 10, 2nd and 10. BC's just sitting back in his zone, and Hobart can't do a thing with it.
And so right now, Bernie Ruoff is standing inside his 10-yard line to punt once again to Darnell Clash. And sooner or later, Clash is going to break one of these things. He's back at his 35. And he's out now over the 50 to the 51-yard line. And again, the BC Lions are going to have excellent field position. Rocky DiPietro was down there to make the stop for the Ticats. But now it's really imperative that Hamilton be able to contain the Lions here, because it looks to me as though Roy DeWalt and that offense is really starting to find itself. They had a touchdown call back. They already lead the ball game 7-0 with 5:24 left to play in this opening quarter. Ned Armour is keen to get out here. He wants to break that formation, but referee Jake Ireland says, we're not set yet, so let's go get him again. The only touchdown of the ball game, an 84-yard pass and run, Roy DeWalt to Ned Armour. And again, here's that wide receiver screen to Jim Sandusky. And Sandusky is into the Hamilton 45-yard line before Howard Fields brought him back. That's exactly what I was talking about. Roy really seems to know now that he can set these guys up.
Well, great block by Ron Robinson, the big receiver, to the outside. You see him, number 16. He got Donovan Rose, just enough of a piece of him. A little Sandusky can move with that football.
Yeah, but Falcons roll with the passing game. Quick pass picks you up a 1st down.
At the Hamilton 45-yard line. Now they do it to the other side, and Sandusky is there to make sure that he covers the ball, because it obviously was a lateral pass as well, so they'll end up losing 3 yards on the play. Mark Streeter made sure he didn't get up and go. Donnie Matthews, the head coach for 3 years, 2 Grey Cup appearances. That's not bad, is it?
Unbelievable record. He is so far ahead of every other active coach percentage-wise in the win-loss column.
So on 2nd and 13, DeWalt again with time throws. The pass is caught by Sandusky, but he's going to be a 1.5 yards short. Les Brown made sure that he did not get to the yard marker. And as a matter of fact, now they spotted at about the 38.5-yard line, so he's going to be a full 3 yards.
Pat, I just wanted to point out that the Hamilton Ticats are doing some deals in their line. They're only bringing those front 4 people, which we anticipated. They are crossing over, but they're not getting pressure against Roy DeWalt. That time they just came straight ahead. Normally they've been doing deals with 2 defensive tackles, but no pressure on DeWalt so far.
Well, Riggs, you and Leo Cahill talked about both offensive lines in your opening in the pregame, and you mentioned the experience of the BC Lions, and it really shows there. They did an excellent job in forming that pocket for Roy DeWalt.
Well, I think Hamilton's going to have to bring some linebackers at least once in a while, maybe a halfback blitz, just to make Roy aware of it.
Les Brown, who had that unfortunate happening of covering Ned Armour and then slipping off him, allow Armour to go the full distance for the touchdown was shaken up on that previous play. He's out of the ball game as Louis Pasaglia will try a 44.5-yard field goal. And it is good. So add on 3 more for the British Columbia Lions. And they are out in front of the Hamilton Ticats 10-0 with 3 minutes and 46 seconds left to play in the opening quarter. And gentlemen, I am going to suggest this to you. Hamilton better get on track soon.
And I couldn't agree with you more, but that BC Lion defense is really attacking them, and that's, I think, what Leif and I were trying to say a little earlier. They've got to take a little bit at a time and try to, instead of trying to get it all at once.
Well, as Leif has pointed out a number of times, when you set yourself up to be 2nd and 10 or more against a defense like the BC Lions, you're just not going to convert those situations. Now they start from their 35-yard line with a first down. And they give to Johnny Shepard. Now, Shepard picks up a good, healthy 7 or 8 yards before he's finally brought down by the cornerback, Darnell Clash. But that's exactly what you gentlemen were talking about.
Oh, is that the Johnny Shepard we saw in 1983? Really no running room as he initially comes up the middle, breaks into the outside, and he has great speed. Broke the tackle on Larry Crawford, and now you've got 2nd and 1. We've got some room to work with.
Johnny Shepard, of course, 2 years ago was outstanding, but he was injured last year, injured much of this year. But he is the Hamilton running game, along with Hobart. And they're running with reckless abandon. Shepard goes right over the middle and picks up a couple of yards for the first down.
Well, what this does is open up so many other avenues for Ken Hobart. Now, if you can get some kind of running game established, he can go to play-action passes on first down, the little dump-offs, and try and get something established.
Ticats have a first down. The ball at their 46-yard line. Trailing 10-0 late in the first quarter. The pass is complete to Stapler. And Stapler is grabbed by Darnell Clash at the 53-yard line. But again, the Ticats do something on first down, where now they set themselves up for a 2nd and 3.
Pat, that's a good illustration of the difference in the defensive philosophy, though. 3 linebackers coming, 4 defensive linemen for the BC Lions, and man-to-man coverage, obviously. Clash having to back off and give the receiver a little room.
2nd down, 3 yards to go, Hamilton. Hobart's pass is caught by Stapler. Again, another first down for the Ticats. The ball is at the BC 15-yard line.
All right, now they're starting to pick it a little bit.
I think Darnell Clash watched the game film from their game against the Montreal Concords last week when Steve Stapler did catch 3 touchdowns, some long bombs. He's really respecting his speed, giving him lots of room, but I'm glad to see Ken Hobart recognizing that.
So for the first time in this first quarter, the Ticats are in British Columbia territory with a first down at the Lions 51. Hobart quickly over the middle for Rufus Crawford, and Rufus was not able to hang on.
Well, nevertheless, a good call by Hobart, trying to split the seam.
There's the Prime Minister of Canada, Brian Mulroney. Nice to have the PM here in Montreal. He couldn't have picked a nicer day. Didn't get much of a reaction from the crowd, though, when his picture went up on the stadium. So it's 2nd down and 10. Hamilton at the BC 51-yard line. Hobart down the middle, way over the head of the intended receiver, Rocky DiPietro. Larry Crawford went high, hoping to spear it himself, but it was well overthrown. James Parker put some pressure on Ken Hobart, and that obviously had something to do with the errant pass.
That they do give a young quarterback an awful lot to think about. That time they played the Hamilton type of defense, just bringing the front 4 and laying everybody back off there now.
But if nothing else, Hamilton has established some field position.
That's right. They picked up 2 very important first downs there.
Good punt by Bernie Ruoff has Clash at his 6-yard line. Gets to the 10, so that was an important series for the Hamilton offense, and a good cut by Bernie Ruoff. Ed Gadabakis, who's been down all day on that special team unit for the Hamilton Ticats, was there once again to make the tackle, and now for the first time. BC is going to be hemmed in their own end with just 44 seconds left to play in this opening quarter.
There's no secret. Bernie Ruoff, when he's punting that football, angling it towards the sidelines to let his tacklers get down and have a good angle. Ed Gadavakis, you saw on the sideline, number 39, second time he's made the play here in the first quarter.
A man that many of us thought would be a factor in this ball game, John Pankratz, still hasn't caught a football. As DeWalt goes deep for Sandusky, he makes the catch, a sensational grab. And again, Les Brown was the cornerback on the play. He cannot believe it as Sandusky makes an unbelievable grab.
Oh, watch the move. Initially he gets outside. Les Brown really kind of relaxing. I don't think he thinks the ball is coming to Sandusky, but Roy DeWalt puts it in the perfect spot. When you're throwing deep, throw it towards the sidelines where the corner can't make the play. Not a bad catch either.
Well, that's the way to get out of your own zone in a hurry, isn't it? A 37-yard pickup. DeWalt throws for Ned Arnold this time, but the pass was nowhere near him.
Boy, you talk about getting out of trouble in a hurry.
It's the way to do it. 37 yards on the one play, and so with just 4 seconds left.
Pat, Sandusky made a catch like that. In fact, a little better than that during a regular season game that we telecast. It was almost unbelievable. We ran it back about 7 or 8 times, and we were still in awe.
Well, Frank, that was in Winnipeg, and working against David Shaw, he made a one-hander.
So let's see what Roy DeWalt elects to do on the final play of the first quarter. He throws. It is complete to the man we referred to, John Pankratz. Pankratz has the first down in Hamilton territory at the 48-yard line before being brought down by Mark Streeter as the first quarter comes to an end. And it's been a good one for the BC Lions. They lead it 10-0. This is Grey Cup 85 from the Big O in Montreal. Lions were really, really forceful in that first quarter. 203 yards to 43 for Hamilton. Of course, they had some big plays, too. One for 84 yards, one for 37.
Yeah, 121 yards on 2 pass receptions, 2 big plays.
And now they're back in Hamilton territory at the Ticats 48-yard line with the first down. Go on, fires. Ronnie Robinson slipped as he was getting set to make the catch. First time he's gone to Robinson, but now DeWalt obviously going to spread it around a little bit. As we take a look at the Honorable Brian Peckford, the Premier of Newfoundland, here enjoying the ball game, along with the Prime Minister, Brian Mulroney, and a lot of other dignitaries here with a really big crowd at the Olympic Stadium. Assuming that the stadium now holds 54, 55,000, I've got to think that we've got in excess of 50. DeWalt fires over the middle, but again, it's incomplete. The intended receiver was John Henry White. So the Ticats bent a little bit, but they didn't break at least. And it's important now that they really hang tough defensively.
Well, that's their theory on defense is bend, don't break. They play a lot of zone that time. They forced Roy DeWalt to go underneath those linebackers, and even if he had hung on to the football, he would not have picked up a first down.
Well, Louis hasn't kicked for as good an average this year, but they've asked him to kick it away from the receivers quite often. I think he's trying to do that again.
He did it well, and Rufus Crawford picks it up at his 10, but because the cover team was able to get down, he only picks up 3 yards, so now it is really going to be tough on the young Hamilton quarterback. The rookie they acquired from the Edmonton Eskimos, believe it or not. Boy, let's say something about those Eskimos who had a great year, and let's say hello to an old pal of all of ours. JD, Jack Parker, the head coach of the club, is in hospital.
Well, we understand, Pat, that he's either getting out today or tomorrow, and we certainly wish him all the best.
Absolutely. So the Ticats start from their 13-yard line. Hobart over the middle. It was very nearly picked off by Glenn Jackson. That would have been disastrous.
They brought everybody on that play but one linebacker, and that linebacker almost had 6 points.
Well, there's no question the BC defense is trying to rattle Ken Hobart, giving him a couple of different looks to see, and Glenn Jackson should have had that one.
Now let's tell you the story of Ken Hobart. He played for a couple of teams in the USFL, Denver and Jacksonville. He was a great player at the University of Idaho, but he was signed by the Edmonton Eskimos, who then sent him to Hamilton. Hobart throws down the middle, off Rocky DiPietro's outstretched hands. And Hobart, who had an outstanding game last Sunday against the Montreal Concords, has not been effective here in the early moments of this football game.
No, he hasn't. Once again, a second and long situation that he cannot convert. It is very difficult. BC dropping back in a zone, and he just couldn't do it.
Stands a couple of yards deep in his end zone to punt on 3rd and 10. Hangs it high. It's a good punt. Flash is at his 50-yard line. And he ends up on his head when Wayne Lee was there to bring him down at the 48-yard line. But the Lions lead at 10-0. This is Grey Cup 85 from Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Well, let's say hello to two good friends of Canadian football. Rod McInnes, the president of Carling O'Keefe, and Jeff Oliver, the general manager of Kodak Canada, among the many dignitaries here at Olympic Stadium. Pat Marsden along with Lee Pedersen and Frank Rigney. Watching the BC Lions put on an impressive performance. They lead at 10-0. And I want to remind you that we have a terrific show for you at halftime. It's called Discover the Stars, and you will, I know, enjoy it. You'll also see first half analysis with all of our expert commentators and the statistical story of that first half. DeWalt fakes that screen that he's been so effective with. Fires it down the middle. It's complete to the 15-yard line to John Pankratz. And, I mean, that is just perfect offense. They went so effectively to that flanking screen so often. They faked it this time, just went right down the middle to Pankratz.
Yeah, and what they do, too, with Pankratz is they fake him coming out on the block, and everything just opens up like the Red Sea. Here you're going to have a great look at it. Watch the Hamilton defenders race up. That frees Pankratz down the middle, and they just can't get over to make the play in time.
First down to the end zone. Boy, I'll tell you, did he take a chance looking for Pankratz again. But there was just great coverage by Mark Streeter, who went high in the air, tried to one-hand it. Unfortunately for him and the Ticats, weren't able to do so.
I thought Roy was trying to throw it away, but Streeter almost made a tremendous interception.
So it'll bring up a second down for the Lions. The ball at the Hamilton 15. Ticats desperately need a big play defensively right now. Gary was there to finally make the stop, but Leon Lescavage was the one who slowed him up enough for the outside linebacker to come in and make the hit.
Well, it really was a big play defensively. Hamilton already trailing by 10 points. Really did not want to give up a touchdown at this point, and now they force Lou Pasagli into the ballgame.
Any chance all of a fake here, guys? They're 10 up right now.
You know what? That's been Donnie Matthews' philosophy in the past. He's a trick player, but
Pasaglia kicks it through from 20 yards out, and now it's a 13-0 score in favor of the British Columbia Lions. They have been dominant. We will remind you, this is Grey Cup 85 from Olympic Stadium in Montreal. On a picture postcard afternoon here in Montreal, I'm Pat Marsden, along with Lee Pedersen and Frank Rigney, and Bill Stevenson is down at field level.
I'm down at field level, as a matter of fact. And the thing I'd like to know, though, is what's happening out there defensively, Paul Bennett.
Obviously, we're trying to stop a very powerful offensive football team, and they're moving the ball pretty well at will right now. We're having a tough time, though, because they're starting with such good field position, but they've scored once on pretty much a lucky one, a great catch by, I believe it was Armour. I thought Les Brown would, was going to pull it away from him, lucky break, but they've been, Louis Pasagli is in field position to hit, and he's not going to miss too often.
Are you going to have to get more pressure, though, if you're going to stop DeWalt?
There's no question. We're going to have to change up a few things, but, we're not going to panic yet. We're hoping our offense can come around and put some points on the board. It's only 13 points.
Okay, thanks, Paul.
Paul Bennett, the great safety of the Hamilton Ticats, giving you his feelings on what's happened so far in this ball game. That catch by Rufus Crawford has given the Ticats a 2nd and 5 at their 40-yard line. And again, this one was drilled in there, intending it for Steve Stapler, but it was nowhere near it. So again, it's downs and get rid of the football from a Hamilton point of view. And barring something unforeseen, Darnell Clash should be able to give BC pretty good field position once again.
You know, BC is playing so well defensively here in the first half. Glenn Jackson really forced that low throw, and that's really frustrated Ken Hobart here in the first half. He just has really had no working room.
And look how well they played defensively against a great football team last week in the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They just shut them down as well. This is Clash at his 30. And now he's at the 40, and he could be a lot further. And now he's at the 47-yard line before, you guessed it, Ed Gadovekas was there to bring him down once again. But Darnell Clash is so elusive that if he ever gets to the outside, you can forget it. He'll be in the end zone.
Of course, he set a record this year for the entire Canadian Football League in punt returns, 1,148 yards. Also had 9 interceptions from that cornerback spot, an exciting little football player.
And you know what he does? He excites the guys that are working on that return team with him. They just try that much harder to get a block when they know how hard he runs with that football.
So again, the Lions start in great field position at their own 45. This is Freddie Sims on the
dropped the ball.
The ball comes loose, and the Ticats have it. They needed a big play defensively. They get it right now at the 49-yard line. Rod Skillman was there to strip him of the football, and Grover Covington was there to recover it, and what a year Grover's had.
What a great game he had last week in their big win over Montreal, but big break that maybe the Hamilton Ticats needed. Ball comes loose. There's 77 to pounce on it. Don't hurt that football, Grover.
We're going to find out right now if we're going to have a football game, because this is the opportunity Hamilton had to be looking for. They have first down at the BC 50. Hobart is down to the 42-yard line. This is what this kid has done all season long, taking it upon himself to make something happen. Finally brought down by Glenn Jackson, but Hobart will have an 8-yard gain.
Well, there's the big man, Grover Covington, who made that fumble recovery, but that's what I like about Ken Hobart. He's not the flashiest quarterback in the league by any stretch of the imagination. He's just a guy that does anything he can to win a football game.
9.5 minutes left to play in this second quarter. It's a 13-0 advantage for BC as Johnny Shepard was hit at the 40-yard line, and he's going to be about a half-yard short, I would suggest. Mike Gray, the Rookie of the Year in the Canadian Football League, was there to bring him down, and what a year Gray had. The kid from the University of Oregon makes the big play again.
Well, if I'm Al Bruno, I take a chance right here.
They're going to. His offensive team has said, Coach, we can do it, and he has waved off his punting team.
And he's a full yard short of the first down, so this is going to be strength against strength right here. The BC Lions have a terrific front four, great linebacking core. Now, can maybe push back far enough by that offensive line of the Ticats. The give is to Shepard. He has the first down. He's to the 35-yard line with Kevin Konar riding him down at that point.
Well, that's the intangible quality of a back like Johnny Shepard. There really was not a hole there, but he just made one little quick move with his feet, got by Larry Crawford, and boy, is that a big first down to pick up.
Ball is spotted just outside the BC 35. First down, Hamilton. Hobart slipped in, reloaded, throws for Ingram. What a catch! What a great grab! Ron Ingram from Oklahoma State University puts the Hamilton Ticats right back in the football game.
It was unbelievable. If we keep this going, you'll see Tyrone Cruz, number 91, get a free shot. Stop it. Right here. Here's Cruz coming in there all alone. If he comes in under control, he's going to sack the quarterback. He goes right by him.
And what an adjustment to the football Ron Ingram makes. He had a big touchdown last week and simply outfights Keith Gooch for the football. The Ticats are back in it.
Bernie Ruoff's point after, as usual, is good. Hey, we've got ourselves a football game. And BC, who had everything their own way, now find themselves really in a football game. As you take a look at the man who really did a job to go up and get that football, Ron Ingram has put Hamilton back in the game, trailing now just 13-7. That's Bernie Ruoff. He's set to kick it off to either Mel Bird, number 10, or Darnell Clash, number 1. This will be Bird at his 9. And Bird with a good return is out to the 39-yard line. And Donovan Rose was there to bring him down as we go to Bill Stevenson.
Ron Ingram, who was certainly the man of the hour. Ron, was that pass play exactly the way it was supposed to go? What was called?
Yeah, it was. It was 89 wide while running takeoff. I knew we could do it. Goose was squatting on me. And I went back to the huddle and told Ken, let's let me run it up. And he threw it out there. And I was fortunate enough to come up with the grab.
Well, I tell you, he seemed to be covering you very tight.
Well, not really. We just have to execute. We execute, I think we can win.
Well, this is Freddie Sims with the handout. Gets over the 40 to the 42. Rod Skillman was there to cut him down, but Hamilton seems to be getting now just a little tighter defensively.
Pat, it was interesting to see Roy DeWalt give Freddie Sims a football right back, because the first game he played for the BC Lions, he fumbled 3 times in that ball game.
So it's second down, 8 yards to go. DeWalt's pass is very nearly picked off by Leo Esrins. But DeWalt was under great pressure. And, of course, that's exactly what Hamilton wants. Let's make him run and throw on the dead run. Grover Covington really put the pressure on him.
And he did a great job, Leo Esrins. 8 years in the Canadian Football League, spent a lot of time with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, came over to the Ticats. He had an outstanding year. I felt he should have been on the Eastern All-Star team, was overlooked, but great play there.
So on third down, Louis Pasaglia is in to punt. And that old thing called momentum may well have switched over now to the Hamilton Ticats. This is a great boot by Pasaglia. This is Rufus Crawford. Took it at his 19, gets out to the 24-yard line. So that's where Hamilton's going to put it into play. But BC had everything going for them. Momentum, the scoreboard, everything. And 2 plays turned it around when they gambled on 3rd and 1. And then the big catch.
The other one, too, I think, Pat, that really helped the Hamilton Ticats is when they shut off BC down at their own 10-yard line. And Lou Pasaglia had to kick the second field goal rather than putting it in the end zone.
So Hamilton will start with the ball just inside their 25-yard line. Rocky never did get to it. There was a lot of pressure on the Hamilton quarterback.
You know, fellas, if you look back at the statistics of 1985, you will not find the Hamilton Ticats very high offensively, but what they did extremely well was take advantage of those turnovers the defense provided them with. And that time, of course, a fumble recovery by Grover Covington led to that touchdown by Ron Ingram.
Cleve, just to make your point, they had 288 yards on average offense, 8th best in the CFL. BC averaged over 100 yards more than they did during the season.
Hobart, he was going deep looking for Rufus Crawford or Ron Ingram. And now Ingram has something to say to Keith Gooch. And we'll keep an eye on those two because that's going to be interesting from here.
If I was Gooch, I wouldn't be saying much of anything. He just gave up 6.
But Hamilton is going to have to get rid of the football once again with 6 minutes and 7 seconds left to play in this second quarter. No, and the point that both Leaf and Riggs were making is valid to a point, but in the second half of the season, under Hobart, Hamilton really did start to come out. This is Darnell Clash once again, and Clash is wrapped up by Leo Esrins at about the 37-yard line. So now Hamilton starting to play well in all facets of their game, but not able to move the football offensively the last series of downs.
Well, that's one thing that Al Bruno was concerned about in their big win over Montreal last week was their inability to cover punch. Today they've done a much better job.
Ball is actually spotted at the 39-yard line. DeWalt drops back, and now he's going deep. He's looking for Sandusky, but it's knocked away again by Mark Streeter.
Threw right into double coverage, and John Pancraft was wide open over the middle. No question. I think Roy had his mind made up where he was throwing up with.
That's really been one of his strong suits this year, is picking out the right guy in the right area to throw that football into. That time, as you mentioned, Frank, that was not the right guy to throw to.
So it's second down. BC, the ball at their 39 with 5:25 left to play in the second quarter. They lead 13-7. And DeWalt is finally sacked by Leon Lescavage. The first sack of the ball game for that front four of the Ticats, who have been so effective laterally.
The 9-year veteran from the University of Alberta, Leon Lescavage, 2 big sacks last week in the Eastern Final, and finally they are able to get some pressure on Roy DeWalt and come up with a sack.
That defensive line of the Ticats, which has been so impressive of late, averages 258 pounds apiece. They stand 6'3". Lescavage, just about that size, only a little taller at 6'4", 255.
Well, they're the major reason that those defensive backs were able to set that interception record this year.
Crawford is back to his 27th and slips down. A little wet in some parts of the field, and you saw there Crawford just lost his traction as he crossed the 30 and got to about the 31-yard line with 4 minutes and 55 seconds left to play in this first half, and it has become a very good football game. Despite the fact that Ken Hobart does not have very impressive statistics, the Ticats are right in it.
The only one they really care about, Pat, we all know that. They're only 6 points down.
First down, Hamilton at their 32. Hobart throws it over the middle, and it goes as an incomplete forward pass. Looking for Rocky DiPietro, but he was hit immediately by the middle linebacker, Tyrone Cruz, number 91.
Well, he's one of the most active middle linebackers in the Canadian Football League. Plays the run superbly, and also the pass came up, and really Rocky DiPietro had that football, but it was a good hit of Ty Cruz that knocked it loose.
You know, Ty's big for a middle linebacker in this league. He's 238 pounds, and he does get around extremely well for that size.
Been around the CFL for 6 full seasons, so Ty knows what has to be done in that middle linebacking position. Second down, 10 yards to go for Ken Hobart. Outstanding player in Eastern Canada this year. And this is what he does best. Hobart is inside the 20 to the 18. Rufus Crawford through the big block that allowed him to get all the way down there. What a run by Ken Hobart.
The block on the right side by number 21, Rufus Crawford. He sits back there, can't find anybody. There's Crawford's block just in front of Hobart, and he uses it to great advantage all the way down to the 17-yard line.
First down, Hamilton. They trail by 6 points with 3:50 left to play in the second quarter. And Hobart, with a good bit of scrambling and some effective work, is finally brought down by Glenn Jackson, but he's inside the 15 at about the 13-yard line.
I'll tell you, it's only because of his great running ability. He didn't lose about 7 or 8 yards with James Marker, the quick one, right in there. Watch number 40.
Now, it really shows you why he finished third in the Canadian Football League in rushing this year. Seems to have eyes in the back of his head, but could not get around the 10-year veteran Glenn Jackson.
Unbelievable to think that this man rushed for over 900 yards, and that has never been done in the CFL ever in the history of this league.
By a quarterback.
By a quarterback. The pass was underthrown. There's a penalty marker down on the field. Hobart was scrambling around so much, he just didn't have time to get set up. So with 2:52 left to play in the second quarter, we'll remind you this is Grey Cup 85 from Montreal. With us at halftime. Kids from right across the country, a really impressive young talent. You'll enjoy it, I know. We'll also have first half analysis for you, the conference stats, the scoring highlights, and we may well have a scoring highlight upcoming because the BC Lions were called for holding. That gives Hamilton a first down. The ball is at the BC 7-yard line. The Ticats trail by 6 points, 13-7. They were down 13-0 at one point. Thing for BC that Tyrone Cruz was able to wrap him up because the big fella, Ken Hobart, who is built like a linebacker, as I suggested to you before, is down to the 2-yard line.
That's an excellent call down the goal line with Ken Hobart. Spreads the receivers completely across the field, and he knows the blitz is coming, and if he just gets a little seam, he can get into the end zone. Ty Cruz made a great play.
So they put that goal line unit in there right now with second down. The ball is at the BC 2-yard line. And they give it to Shepard, but he does not get in. Tyrone Cruz, the middle linebacker, again was there to make the hit.
Decision time for Al Bruno.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to go for it.
I think you got to go for it. BC winds up with the football at the 1-yard line if you miss, and that's exactly what Al says. Let's go. He was successful on a 3rd and 1.5 gamble before.
What he did last time was hand the ball off to Johnny Shepard. Shepard saw that it was closed off inside, and he just squirted to the outside and picked up the first down. Let's see what happens now. 3rd and goal to go from the 1. Shepard over the top, touchdown, Hamilton.
Well, Big Al's 2 for 2 in his decisions. You know, Pat, they put number 51, Pat Brady, the backup center in the backfield. He leads the way, and it's Johnny Shepard up and over for Hamilton's second touchdown here in the first half.
So what was a 13-0 ball game in favor of the BC Lions is now 13-13 with the point after by Bernie Ruoff to come. Ruoff has not missed an extra point this year. We've got an injured BC Lion. I believe it is Mike Gray, number 77 it is, the defensive tackle, shaken up on the play. There's the young Pat Brady that you were talking about who came in to lead Johnny Shepard into that goal area. And there's Mike Gray.
Pat, you know, we talked before this ball game that, and I think most of us agreed that if the Hamilton Ticats were going to win this football game, Ken Hobart was probably going to be the outstanding player because he was going to have a big football game. Well, what a great effort he made on that drive. 61 yards on one play, and then a first down after the holding call against BC. That quarterback draw set up the major score.
Well, there's no doubt that he has been a factor, despite the fact that I'm sure when we look at halftime at his passing stats, people will say, hey, what's going on? But he was only a 48% passer anyway all season.
Well, that's usually the defensive plan when you play against a guy like Hobart. Make him beat you with his passing, not with his running, but so far in the first half, he's really run the football well. Now watch the lead block coming, and Steve Jackson goes in motion. The lead block by 51, Pat Brady, and Johnny Shepard up and over the top. No way they're going to stop him.
So Benny Jones, who goes at 6'3", 245 pounds, will replace Mike Gray at the defensive tackle spot. And Bernie Ruoff will try to give the Hamilton Ticats the lead for the first time in the ball game, and he does. With 2 minutes left to play in the second quarter, let's go to Bill Stevenson.
The man of the hour is Ken Hobart. Ken, you seem to want to start running a little more in that drive. Is that correct? Did you change your strategy?
Well, they're playing pretty good pass defense, Bill, and I hurt my shoulder in the first quarter. Pulled something there, so we're going to go like last year, and we're going to use my legs a little more.
You say you hurt your shoulder, but it's not your passing arm,
well,
is it?
It's in between, right? It's in the middle of my chest, kind of, but it affects my right protects my right shoulder, so it's all right. But we're going to try and start running the ball a little more, try and use Johnny and myself, keep the ball on the ground, and get ball control type offense going.
Well, let's give him all the credit in the world. And how about that man, head coach Al Bruno? He's made all the right moves so far in this first half. His ball club is now in front, 14-13, as Bernie Ruoff will prepare to kick it deep to either Darnell, Flash number 1, or Mel Bird, number 10.
Well, you know, Pat, when you come into a game as an underdog in a game of this importance, I think you have to be a bit of a gambler, and so far it's paid off for Al Bruno.
This is Glenn Leonard, and Leonard is able to get the ball up over the 35 to the 38-yard line. Now there's a minute 56 left to play in this second quarter. There's all kinds of time for the BC Lions, but this may well be a telltale time of this football game. How is Roy DeWalt going to react to finding himself for the first time trailing?
I'll tell you, if I was Hamilton right now, Pat, I'd go after him. I'd come out with a blitz and try to put real pressure on him.
Lions start at their 37-yard line. DeWalt to Sandusky, just a little bit off the mark. That pass was Leonard perfect the first 3 or 4 times. This time, just slightly off the mark.
Well, listen, the defensive guys are no fools either. They've seen that play 3 times now in the first half. They're going to react to it a little quicker. But I know one thing. Roy DeWalt wants to win at halftime with the lead. He doesn't want to be trailing.
Well, he's going to have to pick up a sizable gain right now if that's his intent, because with 1:53 left, he finds himself with a 2nd and 10 from his own 37. And he's dropped by Grover Covington. If this is your first opportunity of seeing this man play football, Grover Covington led the Canadian Football League with 16 sacks this year. He has simply been outstanding in all phases of his defensive end position.
Pat, once again, though, they bring only the front 4 people, and they're getting that pressure with just their defensive line. Watch now as number 77 picks up yet another sack. When he hasn't sacked him, he's still been pressuring him. And, Leaf, I think that's the key to what they've done defensively. Not that many sacks, only 2. Let's go back to live action.
Well, this is Louis Pasaglia couldn't get the punt away, and as a result, he ends up with a big first down for the BC Lions. Mitchell Price was the man who would have been there to block the punt, but he ran right by him, and Pasaglia, the great veteran that he is, just scampered outside.
Well, I'm sure that was not a design play. He just felt like Mitchell Price could have blocked the punt, but, you know, Louis was a quarterback at Simon Fraser. He's got that intangible quality to run with the football, and what a big play this could turn out to be.
A minute 28 left to play in the second quarter. A 1-point lead for Hamilton. The ball is at the BC 50-yard line. First down Lions. They fake the draw, and now they go deep. Looking for Ned Armour. Another touchdown. Another huge play by the Lions. They've only counted 2 of Ned Armour's touchdowns, but he actually scored 3. One was brought down on a penalty, but as this kid passed, he just flew by everybody.
Well, we suggested that maybe that punt by Lou Pasaglia could turn out to be a big play. It was, because it set up this long pass to Ned Armour. Les Brown once again could not provide the coverage, and Ned's got his 2nd touchdown of the game.
This is the man that replaced Mervyn Fernandez.
Mervyn
who?
Who?
Could not start.
Mervyn who? Boy, oh boy, what an electrifying play that was.
The point after by Pasaglia is good. And the Lions are back in front now, 20-14. There is Ned Armour from San Diego State. Seems everybody's from San Diego State today. His opposite number on the other side, Jim Sandusky, also from State, and Steve Stapler for Hamilton from San Diego State. But this is the man of the hour. He has 2 touchdown passes, compliments of Roy DeWalt.
Pat, you suggested when the Hamilton Ticats scored with 2 minutes remaining that BC still had time. It took them 40 seconds.
Let's go to Steve Armitage. Well, let me just tell you that is Ned Armour that he's talking to. Unfortunately, what Ned is saying we can't hear, but let me put it this way. He's probably saying, I'm happy the ball was there because I knew if it was long enough, I'd be able to get it into the end zone.
Well, you know, Hamilton plays his own defense so you can't get beat deep. Ned Armour's done it twice now.
Rufus Crawford from his 8-yard line. And Rufus gets it out over the 25 to the 26. Can Ken Hobart engineer some more magic? A minute 15 left to play in this first half. How have you enjoyed it so far?
It's been a great first half of football. Exciting. I like the way Hamilton came back, and boy, Grey Cups are like that. I remember in 1976, the punting game, Jerry Organ ran for a big first down to give his team a lift. Now Luke Bisaglia has done that for the BC Lions.
And Riggs will remember a few Grey Cups that were fairly exciting between Winnipeg and Hamilton as well. Hobart gives it off to Johnny Shepard. And Shepard really didn't go out together. Unfortunately, he did not shake Ty Cruz, and he'll end up losing a yard or two.
You know what Al Bruno's thinking right now? Holy cow, I hope we don't give him the ball back with more than a few seconds left to go.
But he's got to be pleased with the way his club has fought back in the second quarter particularly.
And I think Johnny Matthews has to be pleased with the play of his middle linebacker, number 91, Ty Cruz, been extremely active.
So it's second down, 12 yards to go with about 55 seconds left to play in the second quarter. Hobart is really caught. The ball comes loose. The BC Lions have it. James Parker with the recovery. And oh no, Hamilton's in trouble.
Well, Pat, he not only recovers that football, as you see Donnie Matthews getting Roy DeWalt ready to go back in, but he's the fellow that made the hit. Hobart just waited and waited and waited. Finally, James Parker, here he comes, number 40. What a job he does.
Well, he's been close so many times, and I'm sure that has been very rewarding for James Quick Parker, because he thought he had Kenny Hobart 2 or 3 times in this second quarter.
Yeah, he hurts him, too. Boy, that's a punishing hit.
Yeah, but I'll tell you who's hurt right now. Both James Parker and Glenn Jackson are down on the turf. Jackson's only missed 1 game in his career for the BC Lions. But James Parker, former great with the Edmonton Eskimos, who has been every bit as good with the BC Lions since coming over a few years back, is still down on the turf.
Oh, what a tremendous athlete he is, because not only did he make the hit on Kenny Hobart, he had the presence of mind to look around, locate that fumble on the ground, and he was actually the guy that came up with that recovery.
Well, James Parker from Wake Forest has played in Canada for 6 years, and every year he's been outstanding. And he has just given the BC Lions possession at the Hamilton 22-yard line with 48 seconds left to play in this half.
Bet he's the only BC Lion that's ever played on a winning Grey Cup team. He, of course, was at the Eskimos in 1980, 81, and 82 when they won the national final. And that would be a tremendous blow to the BC Lions defensively if James cannot come back.
Well, you know, it's interesting, when Donnie Matthews took over the job as head coach of the BC Lions, the first move he made was trade for his defensive specialist, James Parker from Edmonton.
48 seconds remain. BC Lions first down at Hamilton's 22.
Just moments ago, it was 14-13 Hamilton. It is now 20-14 BC, and they're threatening to add more. But they're not going to get it that way, because the pressure again came from inside. Mitchell Price, number 65, was there to record the sack for the Hamilton Ticats.
Now, once again, Roy DeWalt was going to go to the long bomb, trying to strike quickly. It just took a little bit too much time to develop, looking for Jim Sandusky, but there comes big Mitchell Price.
Mitchell Price had good technique on that seam spin off the block.
He got away from 2 people, the offensive lineman. I believe it was Roper, and then he got away from John Henry White, who's a great blocker.
Loss is 9 yards. Ball is back at the Hamilton 31. Oh, they really trapped Rod Skillman. Skillman took an inside rush. Freddie Sims gets it down to the, let's see, the 16-yard line. But that was the perfect play for the situation, because with Skillman coming inside, Freddie Sims was able to just run right by where he had been.
Well, Riggs, kind of a takeoff at the old Statue of Liberty play. Roy DeWalt back, gets that arm up in the air, and then hands off to Freddie Sims. Nevertheless, they do come up short of the first down.
And just as they did earlier in this ball game, Hamilton toughens up when BC was threatening to go in for another touchdown. Now they'll have to settle for a Louis Pasaglia 24-yard field goal attempt. And it is good. So with just 5 seconds left to play in this first half, the BC Lions have gone out in front 23-14. But it's been a good one.
So I can't believe it. Just a few moments ago, Hamilton took the lead 14-13. Now they find themselves trailing.
Well, I want to say on behalf of the entire CTV crew, that includes Dale Isaac and Al McCann, who worked with Frank Rigney in the Western Conference this year, and on behalf of Lee Pedersen and Bill Stevenson, and I'm Pat Marsden, saying we've really had an enjoyable 1985 campaign, and we look forward to seeing the second half of this ball game with our confreres from the CBC, Don Whitman, Ron Lancaster, and Leo Cahill, because it's going to be very entertaining for the next 30 minutes as the BC Lions and the Hamilton Ticats go at it for the national championship. And with second down and 11 yards to go, Hobart's not going to get fancy. They'll be quite content to run out the clock here, go to the dressing room down 9 and see if they can regroup. So that is the story at halftime. It is the British Columbia Lions 23, the Hamilton Ticats 14. We'll be back with our halftime show in just a moment from Grey Cup 85 in Montreal.
When the BC Lions jumped in front as they did, it looked as though it might be a first half blowout, but much credit to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They played in that first half much as they did during the course of the season. They got off to such a bad start, 1-6 early in the year, then they came back in the second half. I wasn't really too surprised that the BC Lions struck late in that quarter. I was surprised that the BC Lions didn't come up with a second touchdown because the Hamilton Tiger Cats came up top. Fred Sims, who got a chance to play in place of the injured Kevan Jenkins and responded with an outstanding game against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in that Western Conference Championship game a week ago. Second and 2 for the Lions. Roy DeWalt indicating the count to his running backs. He fakes the handoff. Fires incomplete. Intended for Rick Klassen. A little different twist by the BC Lions.
That was a great play, really. They cleared the area out, cleared it out twice, and then he goes in on short yardage anyway. He just slides out into the open area. He catches the ball. It's a big gain, but he just didn't hang on.
No reflection on Klassen, but in a situation like that, when you have to get the first down, I don't know that you throw to a guy that only catches the ball once or twice a year.
Well, it is unusual, but that's usually the guy that's going to be open.
That play by Lou Pasaglia late in the first half, where he anticipated Mitchell Price was going to get through to block the punt and then ran for a first down, could in the final analysis be a turning point in this football game. His third down punt to Rufus Crawford, and Crawford is upset at the 35-yard line. Well, let's see what the Hamilton Ticat offense can do in their first series of plays in this third quarter.
Well, it's going to be interesting, Don, as the game progressed to see whether the BC Lions come out with the same kind of defensive strategy. Early in that ball game, they put people up on the ends of the line of scrimmage, defensive backs, shut down any opportunity for the quarterback to roll out, and played man for man, and then went to zone on second down. We'll see whether they do that in first down here.
In the first half, Hobart in throwing the ball badly missed the target on a number of occasions. He has a strike with his first throw on this second half. Rufus Crawford on the receiving end for a gain of 7. Kevin Konar came in to make the tackle. 23-14 is the score. Rufus Crawford, Mr. Versatility as far as the Ticats are concerned. But he has had, as Pat, Leaf, and Frank pointed out in the first half, problems with injuries. But he can play a variety of positions for the Ticats. Ken Hobart dumps it off. It was intended for Steve Jackson, and it goes incomplete. So the Ticats send out their punting unit.
Actually, it was the second time now in as many tries for both teams that they dropped critical first down plays. He could have caught that ball. He would have had a first down on it. And Hobart, as you see him roll to his right here, makes a good decision, but threw the ball a little bit behind the receiver. He could have caught the ball for the first down, though, Don.
Darnell Clash, the lone punt return man, back in anticipation of this third down punt by Bernie Ruoff. He kicked the ball very well during the first 30 minutes. This an end-over-end kick, perhaps his poorest of the football game. Taken by Clash, he bobbled it momentarily. He's trying to get outside, but he is prevented from doing so by Rocky DiPietro. Olympic Stadium looks on with 12:30 remaining in the third quarter. And wherever you're looking in this afternoon, we hope you're enjoying Grey Cup 85 from Montreal. I'm Don Whitman, along with Ron Lancaster and Leo Cahill, our CBC broadcast crew, provide you with the action in this second half. Freddie Sims, again the ball carrier, and Sims has a gain of 8 yards.
I was expecting the BC Lions to run the ball a lot today anyway. This is their sprint draw series. John Henry Wright blocks on Covington, gets a good block from the right guard. I believe it's Leonard comes through, and Sims picks up the yard. So I was kind of not surprised to see him run the football. They've got to move the ball a little bit, not the big plays. They're going to be able to shut those down on them.
Sims has now rushed for 43 yards. He gets the ball again for a first down to the 50-yard line. And he's stopped by the safety, Paul Bennett.
Well, you know, all year long, we haven't seen any teams that really had consistency with their running game, maybe other than the Winnipeg Blue Bombers with Reeves. But this afternoon, with that front four coming through, we're watching Sandusky coming downfield now. It's pretty rough downfield on that one-on-one. With that big front four coming through there and putting a lot of pressure on the passer, it does, as Ronnie suggested, open up those slots in there for the run play, especially on that sprint draw where the quarterback looks like he may be going out to pass and then hands off. Because there's going to be a time in the second half when that big front four is going to get tired and those seams are going to open up, and at that time, a running back like they've got in there for the BC Lions, he can bust through there. Either one of them, for that matter.
John Pankratz was the intended receiver. It is 2nd and 10 from the 50-yard line. Ned Armour, who has scored 2 touchdowns, goes wide to the left. Roy DeWolf throwing it down the middle. It's incomplete. Paul Bennett, the safety, had a glorious interception opportunity.
Well, you see, Don, what we said early in the game and all week we've talked about the linebackers of the Ticats getting deep. When they get deep, the quarterback, that is a tough throw to put it over the top and down in. And watch, it's just too far. You'll see the linebackers underneath it. It goes over top the receiver's head, and Paul Bennett just drops an interception.
Well, we've seen him all year long stand in that center field position and make those interceptions, and that's one that he really wanted.
So Lou Pasaglia stands at his own 35 for this third down punt. Rufus Crawford takes it at his own 21. Nowhere to go. British Columbia has done a good job in coverage on those special teams, and those special teams were a key ingredient in their victory over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers last week.
Well, I know that's been one of their key ingredients all year, but as today, I believe both teams have done a good job. Ed Gadavekis has done a great job for Hamilton. Neither team's been able to get what they want out of the special teams, and that's a good credit to the defense.
Paul Bennett, Toronto, Winnipeg, back to Toronto, traded briefly to Edmonton. He never suited up with them, played with the Hamilton Tiger Cats this year, and wound up winning the Shenley Award as the country's outstanding Canadian player. He was nominated in 2 categories. He lost the other to Winnipeg's Ty Jones. Rick Klassen gets through to sack quarterback Ken Hobart.
This, to me, has been the difference in the football game today. The BC Lion front four have been able to get more pressure on DeWalt, or onto Hobart. They haven't been able to get to DeWalt too much. Once again, they try to keep him inside. You see Parker chase him inside, and there's Klassen to make the tackle. They've been getting by those offensive linemen in Hamilton.
One thing about the BC Lions front four is that they have the quickness on the inside that Hobart can't step up inside them like he has done against a lot of teams.
Second down play. Hobart over the middle. The pass is complete, but Steve Stapler is stopped about 4 yards short of a first down by Larry Crawford.
What they want to do, they try to throw a swing pass out to the right on a screen, and Stapler is the alternate receiver. He finds the hole, Hobart finds him. It's just too bad he didn't get the first down. Larry Crawford made the hit.
So once again, Darnell Clash, number 1, old man back for this third down punt. And the British Columbia Lions, on most occasions, except on that one play where they were back at their own 6-yard line, have enjoyed pretty good field position each time they have started an offensive series. Class fumbles the football. Who's got it? British Columbia managed to retain possession as the ball bounced away from Darnell Class.
You know, that's just about the place they fumbled before.
This is Grey Cup 85 from Olympic Stadium in Montreal.
One day.
Change, you took a hit late in the first half. What happened?
When the ball was out, a lot of the guys was jumping around. I just happened to be on the bottom of it. I got the worst of it. Basically, it was just I just got hit from being on the bottom of the pile.
The Lions seemed to lose some momentum late in that first half, but you got it back.
Yeah, you know, they're a good team. They're playing hard, and we trying to get control of stuff because the momentum do shift. We're just trying to keep the most of it.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Roy DeWald taking to the outside, now throwing deep. Incomplete. Intended for Ned Armour. He was being covered by Donovan Rose. Talmadge Ned Armour, his given name. Talmadge, he prefers to be called Ned. He replaced Mervyn Fernandez. What pressure he came into that Western final under. He responded with a brilliant performance, and he has 2 touchdowns in the Grey Cup game.
Well, that's about all you can say. The guy does have the great speed, and you just crowd him and he's gone, so he's got to be a threat at about 20 yards on stops and hooks.
2nd and 10. The ball is at the Lion 43. They lead 23-14. There's the handoff to Grant Sims, and Sims is going to be stopped short of the first down at the 49-yard line by Leon Lescavage.
You know, Don, you talk about Merv Fernandez not being in the ball game. Congratulations to Merv Fernandez and the rest of those Shenley Award winners the other night. Paul Bennett, Tyrone Jones, Nick Mastai, and Mike Gray. And I was really impressed at that show the other night by how each of those guys spoke and how well they conducted conducted themselves, I should say, in front of that huge audience. There you'll see the reverse right there. Well recovered by the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
3rd down kick by Lou Bisaglia. He hangs it high. Crawford goes back to his own 10-yard line. He slips there. And there's nowhere for Crawford to go. That was a 51-yard kick by Lou Bisaglia. Jamie Blease was downfield covering for Don Matthews, British Columbia Lions. You can't say enough about the job Matthews has done as head coach of the Lions, yet he has not been rewarded with Coach of the Year honors. However, leading the Lions to a 13-3 record in regular season play this year, and if he does manage to hang on to this lead, he may be so honored come January up in Edmonton. Hobart had difficulty picking out a receiver, and Rick Klassen is there for the tackle. Sacking Ken Hobart, and Rick Klassen appears to be intent upon earning that Outstanding Performer Award from this 1985 Grey Cup game as he did in '83.
Well, go ahead, Rob. He wanted to throw an out pattern to the right side, and when the man was covered, those outside ends forced him inside, and there's Klassen waiting on him. But Klassen has had an outstanding year. Talking to Don Matthews during the week, he felt he's played well all year.
And I think, Ron, the big difference, again, the inside of that defensive line of the BC Lions have the quickness, but they're taking any kind of stepping up away from Hobart. He just doesn't have the opportunities he's had a lot during the season of stepping up inside there and running. They just recover off their blocks and make the tackle.
Johnny Shepard stopped by Kevin Konar. It was 2nd and 16 for the Ticats.
There you saw James Parker loop real wide to the outside. That inside seam was open, but they needed too many yards. You're not going to run for that many yards. BC was content. They'll let you have that, make the tackle, get good field position. You hit it right on the head. The Lions have had great field position most of the day.
And they're going to get great field position again as Bernie Ruoff is kicking from his own goal line. He's had a lot of work this afternoon. He has already punted the ball 10 times.
Now, speaking of field position, as long as they can keep the young quarterback in a dangerous position on the field, he's very subject to make mistakes, and Donnie Matthews knows that.
Darnell Clash looks for a couple of blocks. There are penalty flags as Clash is stopped by Randy Ravansky. It appears as though the call will go against British Columbia. A 48-yard punt that time by Bernie Ruoff, but the return of Darnell Clash will be wiped out by a holding violation.
That 10 yards that they're going to lose right here on the penalty, you don't like to lose those.
BC number 31. First down.
You don't want to lose that because they had the ball at midfield and you got a short distance. Every time you exchange ball, you want to gain field position.
A handoff to Freddie Sims, and Sims fights his way out to the 45. Leon Lescavage was there to make the tackle. Freddie Sims is a little different runner than the man he replaced, Keevan Jenkins. Sims seems to have more strength. He's able to drive straight ahead, where Keevan Jenkins was more of a fancy runner.
He was quick. Keevan Jenkins is real quick. You give him a hole, he's gone. Sims can run inside or outside. He comes from the University of Oklahoma in his third game. He's a power runner, 210 pounds.
Over the middle, the pass is complete to John Pancraft. Fights down to the 34. He caught that pass between the two linebackers, Ben Zambiazzi and Leo Azaretz, and he took it down to the 34. A gain of 32 yards for John Pancraft.
You know, I think that the Hamilton Tiger Cats have to get close in this third quarter. And the big reason that they're going to have to get close is we see DeWalt go back, get it down there to Pancraft, and this is the guy that I picked before the game as the dark horse, because he can get in there and get into those seams and catch the football, and he can run with it when he catches it. But I think that the Hamilton Tiger Cats got to stay close in this third quarter, because in the fourth quarter, if they don't, that front four are bound to be tired. And when they get tired, they're going to get reckless with their rush. And at that time is the time that those running backs are going to get up inside and sustain the football, keep it away from Hamilton. They're not going to be able to get the football.
A gain of 3 at 2nd and 7 on that carry by Fred Sims. DeWalt throwing deep. Incomplete. Ron Robinson was covered by Howard Fields.
Great coverage. He was there. He just got that right arm out, knocked it away.
5:18 is the time remaining in this third quarter. It's still 23-14. The BC Lions leading Hamilton.
There you see, just at the end, it looked like Robinson might have had a shot at that right arm come out underneath. That's what you got to do. Get on him close and stay on him. Took a pretty good hit after it. Grover Covington, you know he's always close.
Another field goal attempt by Lou Pasaglia from 37 yards out. And again, it's good. And the BC Lions stretch their advantage over the Ticats to 12 points. This is Grey Cup 85 from Olympic Stadium in Montreal.
Ron, the only time we ever get a gold bar is in a candy bar. These players are going to end up with the gold bars today, and what a gift that is.
Lou Pasaglia has certainly stamped himself as a candidate. He's perfect in the field goal department, 4 for 4.
That's a great feat in itself, 4 for 4, but that running is on third down. And a lot of, as you said earlier, could have been the turning point of the game. You never know. We'll see.
Johnny Shepard finds a hole, and he'll have close to a 10-yard gain. Glenn Jackson finally halted the progress of the Hamilton running back, but not before he had picked up a first down.
But Don, every time they've called on Johnny Shepard this afternoon, he's produced. And maybe they're going to have to give him the ball a little bit more. Watch him here as he takes it through there. He can bust through there as quickly as anybody can. And although he's not a very big guy, he's got great leg strength, and he can break tackles.
Product of Livingston University. What a find he was for the Ticats. Hobart throwing deep down the sidelines. Incomplete. He was looking for Ron Ingram, who was being covered by Darnell Clash.
Well, you have to do that every now and then. Just get back there and let it go. He has the speed on the outside in Ingram. He's got Clash one-on-one down the sidelines. Darnell just made a good defensive play.
It will be 2nd and 10 for the Ticats. Darnell Clash got up limping a bit as he headed back to that BC defensive unit, and there is an injured BC player out there. Rick Clausen is down on one knee. Product of Simon Fraser University. And how the British Columbia Lions have reaped the rewards of the football program at that school.
Boy, I'll tell you, there's a bunch of them around, and it's been one of the good schools to produce football players for the CFL. They must have a great program. They've got to.
Benny Jones goes into the ball game, replacing Rick Clausen. Jones and Nick Hepler alternated at defensive end in last week's Western Championship win over Winnipeg. Hobart taking off, running for the first down and more.
The Lions went to that zone defense again, and when they do that, it's going to open it up for Hobart. They're going to shut down the pass, but it's going to allow him to just take off and run with it.
I don't think very many people know just how fast he was, because Glenn Jackson had the angle on him that time, and he still beat him to the sidelines.
15 yards on that carry for 91 in the ball game. And he has clearly demonstrated this afternoon why he ran for almost 1,000 yards during regular season play with the Ticats. He is a skilled runner. They were after him with the blitz. The pass is intercepted. Kevin Konar grabs it and is hauled down at his own 44. The blitz was on, and Hobart would like to have that one back.
That was a screen middle that time. He had all the blockers and everything set up right there. The unfortunate thing was that he threw the ball right into the red shirt hand.
They came with a safety blitz for one of the first times today. At least I haven't seen it. He had to get rid of the football, and as you say, he'd love to have that back because ill-advised at this stage of the game, or any stage, I guess.
Well, we talked about Simon Fraser's contribution to professional football. University of British Columbia hasn't done badly either. That's the school that Kevin Konar attended. Freddie Sims finds a hole. Sims is a tough man to bring down. He'll fight off tackles and will shake off those tacklers, and that time he picked up about 14.
Well, if they will just keep alternating that running and passing game now like they've been doing in this third quarter, Ron, they're going to be very, very tough to beat.
Well, he breaks inside again. You just give the ball deep to a good back, he'll find a hole. Boy, they chopped on that backside linebacker, and that gives him the whole backside, and then it's just you run till they stop you.
Now, you see what happens. Those defensive ends are coming on that hard outside rush, and it opens up those inside seams. There it comes again.
And Sims has another big game right now. Let's go to Steve Armitage.
Kevin Konar is with me. Kevin, did you have the safety blitz on that time?
No, we just had a base defense, and he overthrew the screen. I just happened to be in the right spot.
Seem to be getting lots of pressure on him.
Yeah, our front four is doing an excellent job. We just got to keep it up. Hobart is a great runner.
Don.
All right, Steve. Well, Greg Gary has come out of the ball game defensively. Gadavekas has gone in. John Henry White gets the call this time. Brad Sims, who has done the bulk of the running for the British Columbia Lions, is closing in on 100 yards, and he is now going out of the ball game as we look at quarterback Ken Hobart taking a breather on that Hamilton bench. But he has to try and get that Hamilton offense on track if the Ticats are going to get back in the ball game. Right now, the British Columbia Lions leading by 12, very much in control. Roy DeWalt on the short yardage play will be close. He was stopped by Leon Liscavige. Don Matthews had sent in the short yardage offense. Matthews waiting for a signal as to just how far they are away from that first down. And he calls John Pankratz and Ron Robinson back to the bench while they bring out the chain to measure.
I think he's going to be a little bit short on this. DeWalt couldn't fall forward. They grabbed him and pulled him back. What do you say about a half a yard?
About a half a yard. I think they're going to go for it.
Now Bruno made a couple of calls on third down situations that produced for the Ticats. Don Matthews leaves his offensive unit out there. They're going after it on third down.
It'll be a quarterback sneak.
I believe it has.
Well, the referee had it clearly marked. But boy, it had to be a quick whistle because that was a heck of a hit.
Al Bruno's taking a chance here. He's about 10 yards out on the field, screaming at the officials. They got to get him off there. Can't afford a penalty at this stage.
Placement of the ball extremely important here, but it is a first down for the BC Lions.
Well, we're going to get a good look at it. Look, Zambiazzi really let him have it on that quarterback sneak, and the ball come loose, and Howard Fields is there, but the referees marked his forward progress and awarded a first down.
I'll tell you one thing, Ron. That ball came loose before he hit the ground. I think it should have been a fumble. I think Al Bruno's got a point.
Well, he was right in front of that play from his position on the bench. John Henry White, the ball carrier, and he got to the line of scrimmage. As a matter of fact, he may not even have reached the line of scrimmage.
You know what they're doing, Don, Ron? Their defensive ends from Hamilton have been doing a lot of gaming on their pass rush, coming inside and coming outside and taking either advantage on their pass rush, giving up either the inside or the outside. Now they're handing off to John Henry White and to Sims, and they're just running right at their offensive tackle and either veering to the outside or taking the inside in order to get those big runs.
A loss of 1 in 2nd and 11. The ball to the sidelines, and Ned Armour has it. But he is short of the first down.
I think anytime you're going to gamble on 2nd down long yardage and throw the ball to the outside, your receiver has to go deep enough to get that first down. He's going to come up about 3.5, 4 yards short. That's crazy.
I don't know what Ned was thinking of when he caught that football, too. There wasn't anybody within 5 yards of him, and he kind of turned and stepped out of bounds.
Well, that was the final play of the third quarter, and this is Grey Cup 85 from Olympic Stadium in Montreal. So will be attempting his 5th field goal of the ball game. In case you're wondering, the most field goals in a Grey Cup game, 6 by Don Sweet in the 1977 game. "27-yard effort. It is good. And Pasaglia is 5 for 5. And Don Matthews extends the hand to congratulate Pasaglia prior to the ball game. Some discussion as to which side had the advantage in the kicking game. So far today, Lou Pasaglia is way ahead of Bernie Ruoff.
Well, I know talking to Frank Rigney yesterday and the day before, he felt that if there had to be an edge, and he said only if, that Pasaglia was a quarterback, he could run, he could throw, and his running ability and, heads-up play, that big turning point in the second quarter.
Yeah, but in all fairness to Bernie Ruoff, his team hasn't got him in a position where he can kick some field goals this afternoon. We know he's been a great contributing force to that Hamilton Tiger Cats. Well, you just got 2 of the best out there this afternoon, and it's a real pleasure to see 2 guys like that on the same field.
Lou Pasaglia will be kicking off following that 27-yard field goal. Eat 'em raw was a cry of Hamilton defensive units back in the 50s and early 60s when they were a tough team. The ball bounces to Johnny Shepard. And Shepard is stopped at the 32-yard line. A 61-yard kickoff by Lou Pasaglia. A big edge statistically for the British Columbia Lions as Roy DeWalt has passed for 328 yards. The Hamilton Ticats have not had any success throwing the ball. They've relied on the running game, particularly from quarterback Ken Hobart. And if they're going to get back in this ball game, Hobart has to start moving the team through the air. He gives to Johnny Shepard, and Shepard has a gain of 5. Now let's go down to that Hamilton bench and Bill Stevenson.
Grover Covington, one of the finest linemen in the business. What do you expect from BC now that they've got a fairly large lead for the rest of this game offensively?
Well, basically, they're just going to mix up. I think they're just going to come out and try to run. And we just got to go out there and try to strip the ball and cause some turnovers so we can, get back into the game. Because it's not over yet. We got 14 minutes yet to play, and we're just 2 touchdowns back. And, this is Grey Cup. Anything can happen. So we're just going to go out there and continue to play hard and just try to get some turnovers.
Ken Hobart on the Quarterback draw. He slides into the midfield stride.
You know, if Ken Hobart can just read it, and I know Ronnie's having trouble because he's just a rookie, but if he can read when they're going to be in zone and when they're going to be in man for man, and I think it's very simple, they bring those halfbacks up on the line of scrimmage on first down when they're in man for man, and on zone, he's got a lot better chance to step up inside there and run like he did on that one right there, because those linebackers and everybody are out of there.
He's gone over the 100-yard mark in rushing this afternoon. Now he slips as he tries to throw the ball. He was fortunate to recover as the ball slipped away from him. Let's go now to the BC bench and bring in Steve Armitage.
Don, I got Louis Bisaglia with me. Louis, the kicking toe is working well this afternoon.
I felt good all day today, and I was excited all week. We've got 34 guys playing their hearts out today, and it's fun playing out here. The conditions are excellent.
Louis, for your own information, you're one shy of the record.
I don't mind a record as long as we win this game. There's still a lot of time left, and the way they scored those points in the second quarter, they can still come back.
Don, talking about time, 12:40. And the clock is running, remaining in this fourth quarter. The British Columbia Lions leading 29-14. Second down play, deep down the sidelines for Ingram. He makes the catch. He made the catch.
I'll tell you, you'll never, ever, ever see a better catch than that, Ron. I don't know how he caught it. I don't know how he even saw it.
Well, the big thing is Hobart knows he's got to put it up, and he gambled, and he is covered. Larry Crawford's got great position, and he just bends his body back and concentrates, and it is a great catch. Look at that. That's body control. How you're falling down and find it in the air and hold on to it is great. Let's see just what he does. You see, it's that zone defense. There he is. There's Crawford in great position, but watch the catch.
Oh. He had three problems: finding the ball, making the catch, and then managing to keep his feet in bounds.
Well, that's how football games are turned around by big plays like that. And you wonder how things like that can happen because it was a superhuman catch, but there they are right now, down about on the 12, 13-yard line.
48 yards on the pass completion. Hobart over the middle. He hit the crossbar.
Just as well he did, because Glenn Jackson's going to intercept that pass. What he needed to lay it up. The guy was open. You got 25 yards back there. Throw it all the way back.
Hobart has hit on only 7 of 23 attempts for 125 yards.
You see what Ron is talking about right there, Ron, and I know that you've directed a lot of passes like this in your career. When you've got the guy with the deep end zones that they have in Canadian football, you don't want to rifle it in there, just lay it up in the air and let him run under it.
Second and 10. The ball is at the 13 with 11:47 remaining in the game. Hobart will try and run this. He won't get a chance as Mike Gray, with help from Nick Hebler, makes the tackle.
Well, you can't say too much about the way the BC Lions are playing defense. That time the front four did it. We're going to get a good look at it here. Hobart sprints to his left. You see the ends are real wide. In fact, you can't even see Hebler. Now he tries to run outside. Gray's there, and Hebler's just sitting there waiting on him when he comes back. A lot of ends will, they'll jump back inside and get beat. Hebler waited.
I'm sure everybody could see how they all kept their lanes in there, kept themselves in a position that if he did step up inside there, they could recover inside or outside to make that play. And that's what you call disciplined defense at that point.
Bernie Ruoff will be attempting a 26-yard field goal. Penalty flags on the play. Prior to the ball being snapped, there was movement at the line of scrimmage. I believe it was against the BC Lions. Offside is the call as Don Matthews looks on intently.
It's a football now!
However, I don't think it will alter the situation as far as the Ticats are concerned, because they will still be 11 yards short of moving the yardsticks.
Offside, BC number 77. Third down.
Mike Gray was the man who jumped prior to the ball being snapped. So Bernie Ruoff will be attempting this field goal from 5 yards closer to the uprights, kicking it from the 21. Tom Porras comes out to hold. Stadium, the lights of the city come alive on this Grey Cup night. crowd here at Olympic Stadium has been treated to a very entertaining football game. It looked early as though the British Columbia Lions might just blow away the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The Ticats have fought back. They have fallen behind again, trailing by 12 points. Roy DeWalt gives to Fred Sims, and Ben Zambiazzi, who has played a very strong game from his middle linebacking position, comes in to make the tackle. Right now, let's go down to Steve Armitage at the BC bench.
They're working on the hand of Nick Hebler. He came off the field and the hand was cut. They've stitched it up and they're putting some tape on it. He hopes to get back into the ball game, but it was bleeding quite badly.
Well, of course, Nick Hebler missed the 1983 Grey Cup game against the Toronto Argonauts as the result of an injury. Nick has had some problems over the last couple of years with the injury bug. Long pass intended for Jim Sandusky. He was being covered by Howard Fields, and then Donovan Rose came over as well.
If I was Donnie Matthews and I was in that position on the field, and I know with just 11 minutes left of the ball game, that they would kind of be anticipating that I'd be running on first down and possibly throwing the ball so I wouldn't be giving up that lead on second down. I'd think a little bit about some play action on first down, Ron, rather than running right at them.
Lou Pasaglia stands at his own 20-yard line for this third down kick. There was pressure as they were trying to come from the outside with Les Brown. Absolutely nowhere to go for Rufus Crawford. He is stopped at the 40-yard line, and BC has done an exceptional job of covering on third down kicks, and Jamie Buis was there that time to make the stop on Rufus Crawford. This is Grey Cup 85 from Olympic Stadium in Montreal. And that injury Steve Armitage talked about to Nick Hebler is keeping the defensive end out of the ball game, and he is being replaced by Benny Jones. 10 minutes is the time remaining in the ball game. 29-17. The Hamilton Ticats, under the direction of rookie quarterback Ken Hobart, trail. Johnny Shepard trying to get outside, fumbles the football. He was fortunate to get it back. Larry Crawford from his halfback position came up to stick Johnny Shepard, and he lost control of the ball.
Well, the BC Lions always like to have the defensive back on the close side of the field, this time to the left, up on the line, and he's there for this reason alone. When that guy cuts back to the outside, he should be there waiting on him, and he was there.
He's also in great position in case Hobart wants to run with the football to the outside, too.
See, that's how Shepard made some yards in the first half, but not this time.
Back to the live action, the second down play. Hobart throwing deep. He's looking for Stapler. Incomplete. He was being covered by Darnell Clash, and I think Steve Stapler may have just mistimed his jump.
It looked like he was behind him. It looked like the ball was there, and then something happened, so it had to be something in his coordination and jumping ability that he just didn't hang on.
I don't think the defender the Clash didn't touch the ball at all. Boy, it went right through his arms. You know, we've seen 3 touchdown passes today that were much more difficult catches than that.
So Bernie Ruoff will be kicking it from his own 20-yard line. Darnell Clash takes it at his 31, looking for some blocking to form, trying to go outside now. John Priestner is after him, and with some help from Greg Gary, they finally corral the very elusive Darnell Clash. Well, for the next 2 years, the Grey Cup game will be played under the dome out in Vancouver. And this might very well be the last Grey Cup game ever to be played out of doors, because they are putting a roof on Olympic Stadium, and by the time 1988 or 89 roll around, Toronto may finally have that dome stadium.
Well, we're sure hoping so in Toronto, Don. By the looks of this team out here, Vancouver team, a BC team, they may be playing at home in that Grey Cup a couple times.
Complete, deflected into the hands of Jim Sandusky. Touchdown. I believe it may have been Martin Frieder who deflected the ball into the hands of Jim Sandusky. And as in his hometown in the state of Washington, As those folks look in this afternoon, they'll be doing some cheering.
Well, I don't know what I thought it was Paul Bennett, but we're going to get a look at it. But when things are going right, they go right. But watch, right down the middle.
Boy, that's a great job of
into your hands.
concentration.
That is concentration because it bounced right in his hands.
A 66-yard touchdown from Roy DeWalt to Jim Sandusky. 35-17. The BC Lions are now in front. Tremendous concentration on the part of Jim Sandusky to grab that deflected throw. Point after by Pasaglia. Penalty flags on the conversion attempt. And I think it will go against Hamilton.
Hamilton, number 15. I'd like to say hi to my mom and dad and my sister Nancy in Colville, the rest of my brothers and sisters.
Okay, Jim, thank you. Don?
Well, that saves the price of a phone call. Jim Sandusky with that 66-yard touchdown. And on this kickoff return, Rufus Crawford fights his way out to the 39-yard line. And Darnell Clash was there to bring him down. Well, the roof at Olympic Stadium. And on the left of the screen, you see the piece of architecture that is rising and will eventually provide the cover for the hole in the Big O. First down play. Johnny Shepard trying to get outside, and he'll get a first down, being forced out of bounds at the 54-yard line by Darnell Clash.
Well, you know, you're going to see some good gains now on the running game because the only way the Hamilton Tiger Cats can win is put the ball in the end zone, and you're going to have to go through the air because you can't use up this valuable time. So the Lions are going to give you these now.
I think you're going to see the Lions go to a lot more zone defense right now. They'll be playing deep, and they're going to make Hamilton earn it the hard way, Ron. As you say, it's going to take a little longer to get there.
17 yards that time for Johnny Shepard. A first down play from midfield. Ken Hobart got away from the first man, throws down the sidelines for Steve Stapler. They rule he stepped out of bounds. He's got a first down at the 41. Hobart did a good job of escaping Larry Crawford, the halfback who was chasing him in that Hamilton backfield.
Boy, he sure did. You know, Crawford's a defensive back. He's got good quickness, but Hobart showed a lot of quickness himself. And then Stapler found a hole, and he found him on the run.
First and 10. The ball is at the 41. 7:36 is the time remaining. The BC Lions in front, 36-17. Hobart almost intercepted. He was looking for Rocky DiPietro, and Larry Crawford had the best position on that throw.
Well, he had to take a lot off of it because he was tackled at the last moment. He couldn't get his follow-through in and actually threw it right into Crawford's hands.
Once again, it was Rick Classen, the guy, but look at that. If Crawford picks that off, it's going to be between him and Stapler to the goal line because the quarterback was down, and he's usually your last line.
Second and 10. The ball is at the 41. The Ticats desperately have to come up with some points here. They have hopes of winning this 1985 Grey Cup game. Hobart completes the pass for a first down as he finds Ingram again. In key situations, the man he's gone to is Ron Ingram, once for a touchdown, another time for 48 yards, and this time for 24.
You know, the knock against Hobart early in the season was that as soon as he made up his mind that he was going to run, he'd pull the ball down and he'd run come hell or high water. That time he started to run, but had the good thought of run, the good direction of looking downfield, saw his pass receiver over and got him the football. And that shows that he's coming along as far as his experience is concerned. Good judgment on his part.
From the 17-yard line, first and 10. Hobart's pass in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, and Steve Stapler had a great opportunity to put the Hamilton Tiger Cats right down to the 1-yard line.
On this kind of pass, you want to throw it low, but about belt high is ideal, where he can get it, get the feet under him, and run. When he gets down there that low, it's a difficult catch.
It will be second and 10 from the 17. Hobart was this afternoon has completed just 9 passes of 28 attempts. He'll have to run this one, but he's forced out of bounds at the 12-yard line. Tyrone Cruz came over to force him out. So he's 5 yards shy of a first down. Decision time now.
No decisions now. It's time to go. I mean, the receivers are covered downfield. They're going to make him run with the football now, force him out. 3rd and 5, they've got to convert right now.
Let's go down to the sidelines and bring in Bill Stevenson.
Just a comment, gentlemen. Steve Stapler, the star of the final in the East against Montreal, hadn't had any passes, and I asked him what was going on. Were they covering him too tight? He says, no, for some reason they're not calling a thing to me. Now they've called twice, and he's dropped them both.
This is a 3rd down gamble, and Hobart fires back across the middle. Touchdown! Well, they did not throw to Steve Stapler earlier. They called his number this time, and he made the catch for the touchdown.
I'll tell you what Hobart did real well there. When you roll that far outside to your left, as he did, normally the ball will go to the left, and yet he turned and threw back across the field into the middle, and that's hard to do. So as you said, Leo, his experience is coming. Watch how far outside he gets. See, he's all the way out. Now, you should be looking. He throws it back inside, and it's a great catch by Steve Stapler.
Well, that's against the grain, and as so often has happened this year, this kid just does what he has to do to get in the end zone. Here it is, 3rd and 5, and it's a all or nothing at all situation. Normally, it should be a field goal situation, but they got to go for the points. All he does is get him in the end zone.
And Stapler made that catch with Darnell Clash coming up over his back, and Bernie Ruoff has the point after.
We're going to see it one more time as he rolls out to his left, and as Ron said, when you roll out to your left and get your shoulders turned, he had to almost come all the way back on a 360, it looked like, to get the ball in there, but he could get enough on it to get it in there, and Stapler, who has been neglected all afternoon, will watch Stapler crossing now with Darnell Clash. It's man for man all the way, and Darnell let him get to the inside. Steve is waving his arms. Darnell goes over the top, but the ball is right on the money.
5:33 is the time remaining. Steve Stapler of San Diego making the touchdown grab on a good throw by quarterback Ken Hobart. Let's bring in Bill Stevenson as the Ticats prepare to kick off. What about that catch?
Well, what's called 85 wide, where Jimmy sprints out wide, and I do a backside post. And if it's covered backside, if it's covered front side, he looks backside to me. And he looked, at me, and I was able to be open. We just got the ball in by a fraction, but he threw it right on the money.
Well, it was a big catch, and considering that for the first half or 3/4 of the game he had not come to you, and suddenly he started going to you.
I know, I can't understand that either, but I guess, he's calling the play, so that's what he's doing.
All right, Don.
Okay, Bill, and 56,723, the official attendance at this afternoon's Grey Cup game. And it's 1st and 10 for the BC Lions from their own 33.
Oh, there's not a receiver in the world that isn't open. Did you ever notice that? I know they needed to go to him, but that's a normal receiver statement, but he finally got one.
Wall gives the ball to Freddie Sims, and this is where the Hamilton Tiger Cat defensive unit will have to come up big if they hope to engrave their names on the Grey Cup, because they trail by 12 points, and now just 4:56 remains in the game. Don Matthews providing some play-calling assistance for Roy DeWalt, signaling a play to his quarterback in 2nd and 7. Roy DeWalt has had a tremendous afternoon here at Olympic Stadium. A handoff to Freddie Sims. He's tripped up in the backfield for a loss. The old Statue of Liberty tried to play with Leo Iserins coming through.
Well, you know what was funny? The Tiger Cats don't like the blitz, but when you're looking at 4 minutes and some left in the football game, trailing by 12, you got to go after him. Iserins in the backfield, and down he goes. There you'll see Leo Iserins come from the right side linebacker. He's the one that gets the hand on him and just forces him to trip over his own blocker.
Well, there's 4:29 left. If the Hamilton Tiger Cats can generate a little offense right here, boys, we're in for a real thriller at the end of this ball game.
You know what they want to see? They'd love to see Rufus Crawford break one right now.
The Ticats are going to get the ball in pretty good field position. They have just one man back, and that is Rufus Crawford. They're going after the block, but Pasaglia gets the kick away. Crawford takes it at his own 38-yard line. They had everybody going after the block, so they didn't have anyone there to provide some blocking assistance for Rufus Crawford, and he was stopped right at the 45-yard line by Bruce Barnett.
That's two complete different philosophies as far as punt returns are concerned. Hamilton likes to go after them as far as the block is concerned. BC Lions, most of the time, will go into the cover, get those people back and try to get a block for Clash so he can get in the open.
First and 10, the Ticats at their own 45-yard line. You see the seconds ticking away. Hobart is going to run it, and he's forced out of bounds by Mike Gray and Tyrone Cruz. He got to the 48.
I'll tell you, regardless how this football game ends up, a kid that deserves an awful lot of credit, and they couldn't have done anything without him, is that number 4 for Hamilton, and he's going to be a star of the future. Even in a game of this magnitude today, with all the pressures and all the talk on him, he has still come through and did a lot of things for just a rookie quarterback.
No argument, Leo, with that statement. It's second and 7. He's going to throw it this time, and he was fortunate that it was not intercepted. Darnell Clash was covering the intended receiver, Ron Ingram.
You see who was putting some pressure on him that time, 99, Nick Hebler. Even with the bad hand, he could be bleeding to death. Nick Hebler is the type of guy that he wants to get in there and play. It's been a long time coming for Nick, and he wants to savor every moment.
Yeah, this is what I was wondering why he was kicking the football. You know, 3 minutes and 24 seconds left. Down 12, you've got to go get it.
Well, the kicking team had gone out there, and now both sides have to make an adjustment because the Lions had their punt return unit on the field. Well, Al Bruno has certainly had success. He's 3 for 3 and gambles on third down. Hobart can't find a receiver. Now he throws deep looking for Ingram. Oh, Ingram had it deflected away from him just at the last second by Larry Crawford, or it could have been 6.
I'd like to see a replay because I don't know if it was.
This is Grey Cup 85 from Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Darker outside Olympic Stadium, the chances of the Hamilton Tiger Cats winning Grey Cup 85 also grow darker.
Boy, if Ingram could have caught that football with 3 minutes left and down only 6 points, it would have been a heck of a finish. But that, as it turns out, now they got their work cut out for them.
I'm not too sure you're not right, Ron. I'm not too sure that Crawford touched that ball. It might have gone right through Ingram's hand. After that sensational touchdown catch he made, he was really berating himself for not catching that one.
First and 10, British Columbia. The ball is at the 48 of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Roy DeWalt glancing back at the 22nd clock, taking as much time as possible before getting the play underway. He gives to John Henry White. The BC Lions can now taste that Grey Cup. At home 2 years ago, it appeared as though they were on their way to a Grey Cup triumph, but a second-half comeback by the Toronto Argonauts deprived them of the opportunity, and last year they lost the Western Final at home to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And this year, Roy DeWalt and his teammates are attempting to make the most of their year. Of course, would not be complete after a brilliant 13-3 regular season performance if they did not sip champagne from the Grey Cup.
And you know what Donnie Matthews is thinking right now? He's saying we got to play it safe for one more play, and then we're going to punt the football, and we're going to make Hamilton take that football almost 100 yards against the best defense we think in Canada.
Ben Zambiazzi was hurt on the last play. John Priestner has gone in at middle linebacker. It's second and 10, and again, DeWalt using as much time as possible, and he gives the ball to Fred Sims as he fights to the 45-yard line. Ben Zambiazzi, the outstanding middle linebacker of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who typifies the toughness of this team from Steeltown.
Ronnie, I I think that probably Rufus Sagley right now will definitely be angling this thing to make sure that he doesn't get it in the end zone and kicks it out of bounds, because he doesn't want to get it in the end zone right now. He didn't want to bring it out to the 35-yard line.
No, you sure don't. You want them, as you say, to move as far as they have to go with it. The best thing he could, it'd be nice if he kicked it and have it hit the ground and roll around a while. You don't want to kick in the end zone.
What do they call that in Tennessee? Pooching it.
Pooching.
Paul Bennett and Rufus Crawford are back for this Lou Pasaglia punt. You may have noticed that Pasaglia kept glancing back over his shoulder at that 20-second clock, and they are going to take the time count violation. That moves the clock to 1:50. And will the Grey Cup reside in Vancouver for the next year? The BC Lions are 1 minute and 50 seconds away from taking that cherished trophy back to the West Coast. Lou Pasaglia now stands at his 40-yard line. This time, of course, the clock will not start until the ball is snapped. He is going to try and angle it out, but it takes a bounce and is grabbed by Paul Bennett, and he goes down at the 29-yard line. Kevin Conard was downfield to make the tackle. A year ago, Al Bruno's team went into the Grey Cup against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers as decided underdogs. Even though his team was not favored this year, Bruno and his Ticats felt they had much more of a chance of winning the Grey Cup, having benefited from last year's experience.
Well, as Al said all week, last year we were happy to get there. This year we want to win it, and it's a great attitude because most of these guys were there.
Hobart is in trouble. Larry Crawford from his halfback position came in, and Crawford did an excellent job of just containing Hobart. He was up close enough not to let him throw, and yet Hobart could not get outside either.
I don't think Hobart should be looking deep at this point right here, because they're going to be taking the deep stuff away. He's got to throw sideline stuff and have him step out of bounds and try to move the ball down the field. And from one side of the field, I think a sentimental favorite, if you didn't have anybody you're really sticking for, it'd be Al Bruno. His Hamilton Tiger Cats have overcome a lot of things, but on that other side of the field, Donnie Matthews deserves the right to win this football game because he's had the best coaching record, and they certainly have a great football team over the last 3 years.
Talk about overcoming things. The BC Lions, as that pass intended for Stabler goes incomplete, had to overcome the absence of their leading receiver, Mervyn Fernandez, named the outstanding player in the country, winner of the Shenley Award, and their leading rusher, Kevan Jenkins.
Well, Ned Armour has certainly filled in well for Merv Fernandez, and I think this guy, Freddie Sims, has got a shot to be one of the better running backs. He's got the power, but he's got speed also. So, it's amazing. The BC Lions have been said all year to have the best people in the country, and they show it when they lose 2 key guys and keep it going.
1:30 is the time remaining. The third down gamble by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Hobart looking for someone to throw to. BC did an exceptional job of defending. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats turned the ball over on downs as Glenn Jackson gets to the quarterback. They had dropped 8 people back to defend against those Hamilton receivers.
Well, Don, this goes all the way back to the time when Donnie Matthews was the defensive coach at the Edmonton Eskimos. He's always believed in defense. He started his first 2 years with the BC Lions, winning almost entirely with defense. This year he came in with the help of Fernandez and his great receiving with a running game with Kevan Jenkins, which we felt complemented his football team and gave him the complete repertoire. But when it boils right down to it in the final analysis, again today, it's been his defense that's really come through for him.
And Don Matthews has reason to smile. The head man of the BC Lions sends out the offensive unit with 1:15 remaining. First down play from the 38-yard line, and John Henry White couldn't go anywhere, but the Lions really aren't concerned. They lead 36-24. And as referee Jake Ireland moves away from the ball, the clock will start to run.
Yeah, they're not really concerned with gaining yards or anything else. As long as you keep the ball, they can't score, and that's all they're concerned with.
Roy DeWalt looked twice to the sidelines to Donnie Matthews. Donnie Matthews, I'm sure, gave him the run signal. Keep that ball on the ground, run with it, kick it, and let us defend them again.
Roy DeWalt having his most successful year in his CFL career, throwing for more yards, completing more passes, having a 27-12 touchdown to interception ratio, passing for more yards than at any other time in his career, and having a brilliant Grey Cup game as well. A performance equal to his outstanding accomplishment in the Western Final against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
I think they're going to, looks to me like they're going to give Pasaglia a chance to tie that Grey Cup record with a field goal. I think that's a good move. You know, you don't get to too many Grey Cups, and if you ever have the chance, it'd be nice.
This is Grey Cup 85 from Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Seconds remaining. Lou Pasaglia is going to get a chance to equal a Grey Cup record. A 41-yard field goal try. Don Sweet established the record in 1977. This kick is short and off to the side. It will go as a single point. 37-24 the score. BC Lions now just 40 seconds away from winning the Grey Cup. I'd like to say to Leo Cahill and Ron Lancaster how much I've enjoyed working with you two gentlemen during the course of the season, and I think you will agree with me that we have enjoyed this union of the CTV and CBC networks for our Grey Cup coverage with Pat Marsden, Lee Pedersen, and Frank Rigney.
You know, Don, there's been a lot of criticism by certain people as to what happened in the CFL this year, but there's certainly the culmination of this game today. The two teams that played in the game, and as you said, the association all year long has been a fruitful one, and I've really enjoyed it too. How about you, Ron?
Oh, it's been fun. I love to be around the game.
Well, Tom Porras is in there at quarterback, replacing Ken Hobart for these final few seconds. And that sideline pattern deflected to Rufus Crawford, but he had stepped out of bounds.
And you know something, that is just another manifestation of the kind of a guy that Al Bruno is. He knows it's important to get a quarterback in there that says that he can play it, that he has played in a Grey Cup game. And here's a kid that got in there for a couple minutes, but he can always say that, you know, he's played in a Grey Cup game for a couple seconds.
And just over on that BC bench, we caught a glimpse of number 52, Al Wilson, in his 14th season in the CFL. He has won individual awards, and now he is finally going to receive that cherished Grey Cup ring as a member of the 1985 CFL championship team, the British Columbia Lions. Rocky DiPietro on the receiving end of that Tom Porras throw. There's the veteran center, Al Wilson.
14 years, that's a long time.
Boy, it's amazing when you think of the number of great football players that never did win a Grey Cup. It's nice to see a guy like Al Wilson get the shot.
Now just 28 seconds remaining. 37-24 the score. The BC Lions leading the Ticats. Tom Porras swinging that pass out, and Steve Jackson is stopped at the 50. And that takes the clock down to 21 seconds. There was a penalty flag on the play. The last time the BC Lions won the Grey Cup in 1964, the team they defeated that year was also the Hamilton Tiger Cats. BC Lions have made 4 Grey Cup appearances, and they are batting .500, winning in 64 and 85, losing in 63 and 83.
Offside. Hamilton number 23. First down receiver.
Rocky DiPietro had moved prior to the ball being snapped. Will we see Roy DeWalt in 1986? He is going to enter into contract negotiations with Bobby Ackles, the general manager of the BC Lions, in the next few days, and we certainly hope that he will be back. The interception by Darnell Clash. And Darnell Clash is stopped at midfield with just 9 seconds left to play. Somewhat appropriate as 9 seconds remain as number 9, Roy DeWalt, will come out to direct the BC Lions for the final few seconds. And I don't think Darnell Clash is going to relinquish that football.
No, I think that one's gone. He's never going to turn that one loose.
You know, in that final game out west that we did last week that BC beat Winnipeg, there was a lot of talk that in the final analysis, BC was going to choke again. There was a lot of determination in their players last week, and it's just another carryover this week. Again, it's been a lot of years for them, a lot of criticism for them in key games, because that's the price you got to pay for having a great team with a great record, not winning it all. But this year they can say they won it all.
Well, some of the fans have moved out onto the field. The security people are out there just as quickly to try and remove those fans. As Roy DeWalt on the first play drops to one knee. That uses up just 1 second, but this should provide the Lions with the chance to run off those final few seconds to officially be declared as Grey Cup champions 1985, 37-24, the score for the Lions over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Don Matthews, the coach of this 1985 championship team. He was, of course, with the Edmonton Eskimos during their reign. Al Bruno, the head coach of the Ticats, disappointed, but Al Bruno can be proud of the way his troops performed after getting off to such a bad start this year and then coming back in the second half of the season and coming back in the second quarter of this Grey Cup game to make a contest of it. And Don Matthews is now trying to get over and find his opposite number, Al Bruno, but unfortunately many of the fans are charging out onto the field, and the coaches are unable to exchange pleasantries among that mob scene, but I'm sure they will talk to each other later on in the safety of their own dressing room. Pat Marsden, who called the first half of the ball game, is here with me, and the expression, Pat, on the face of Al Bruno pretty much tells the story as far as the Ticats are concerned.
Well, that's true, but you know what, Whit? This was a great football game. It culminated a very difficult season for the CFL, but we saw so many big plays in this contest, so many near misses. You know, a fumble that might have been a fumble and wasn't called such, a tip pass that ended up going for a touchdown. Just a great, great performance by both these clubs. The expression of joy on the face of guys like Parker and Wilson with the commissioner down there right now.
And the greatest football fans in the world, it's an honor to present the Grey Cup to the British Columbia Lions, #1.
Down on the field right now, understandably. The BC Lions and their fans are jubilant. They haven't won this great trophy since 1964, but they are full value for it in 1985. They had the best record throughout the 1985 campaign, 13-3. They won last week's Western Final 42-22. They are just exuberant and joyful at their 37-24 victory here this afternoon. But it was a great football game. And Hamilton Ticat fans have absolutely no reason to feel ashamed. Their Eastern champions came into the Big O this afternoon, and I'll tell you, they came with